Okay, guys, so we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I'll be your friendly, I think it's lore keeper. Actually, I've been saying, maybe I'm wrong about that. What is it?
Lore
Master.
Lore
Yeah.
Master,
It is a master role. Okay. Your friendly lore master today, because today we are carrying on with the final session of our 5-part adventure, playing Free League's outstanding The One Ring RPG 2nd edition. And we are using a fair bit of material from in the course of this adventure, we've used 2 source books from it. We've used some stuff from Ruins of the Lost Lands. We have used what's been seen on screen at least, and then also Moria, their outstanding recent product. And with me today, I have a full fellowship of heroes who are ready to take up the mantle, make a trip through the winter into the misty mountains once again, and return to Moria. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing today? First up, we've got Sean.
Hey, I'm playing Amleth. He is a Ranger of the North, scholar, and is lured by secrets.
Nice. Next up is James.
Hi, I'm James, and I'm playing Vague, the dwarven messenger, who is feeling inspired by his visits to the caverns of Moria, of Khazak Dûm.
Nice. Next up is Graham.
Hi, I'm Graham. I am playing Gwyndor, who is a high elf of Rivendell and a warden of the troubled roads of Eriador.
Nice. And last, but certainly not least, is our resident armor smith, Dave.
Everyone, I'm Dave. I will be playing Nimloth, who is an elf of Mirkwood, and falls more into the champion of this group. Just haven't shown it yet.
Nice. Dave, your audio is kind of fading in and out a little bit.
Fading in and out, really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds better now. Just when you're doing your intro, it often starts quiet and then it kind of gets, to an audible volume, but it was fading back and forth. So I don't know if it was just the placement of the mic or what, but
Yeah, I've just moved it a little closer to my face.
Outstanding. Yeah, that's perfect now. Okay, then, guys, this brings us to a year in Eriador where we have spent thus far. Our session, let me bring us on over to the travel map once again. And if we did not do so yet, I'll place you back in Rivendell. Here we go. I guess I'm assuming that's where you return to. Get rid of these heroes and replace them with new ones. Here we are. So, Nimloth, you have your travels have seemingly taken you elsewhere, and in the autumn, Amlath, you were called upon to deal with another ranger emergency, I assume. What has happened over the past year, in particular, in those months of the autumn?
The party headed back to Moria. We had a torrid time getting there, with much getting slow progress being made. Well, it was a tired bunch that got to meet up with Daza, who now has a veritable caravan of ponies.
I don't think Nimloth has met Daza yet. Who is Daza?
Daza is the one-handed dwarf who effectively runs his a base station near the gates of Moria, and various parties, not just us, that's why his ponies had expanded to 7, are up there looking to pick over the bones of the old Dorm fortress. But he's been very helpful to us in a way. He's been eager to see what share of any profits we make are. But being a dwarf, he's a good man.
So you have returned to Daza. I believe you met in the spring the first time when you had heard about him and traveled to the West Gate. You encountered him with a pony the first time, and that stable has been growing over the subsequent seasons. That first season, you were able to make your way to the peak of Zirazagal. And what did you find there?
We found the Tower of Durin, but we're unable to enter it since there's no door to it.
Yes.
So you basically have a sheer wall all the way up to the top. So at
And-
that point, we retreated.
Yeah. For the summer season, you added to your fellowship an elven craftswoman. And what did she bring?
She brought hairpins, which I felt was a bit gender specific, but there you go. And she'd got they were made out of mithril. And this was our cunning way to get up the tower. Because we made a return journey. And on that journey, however, am I getting confused? When did we meet the Wraith? That was in...
That was that second.
In this one,
Yep.
indeed.
In the summertime.
So we went up, we met up with Dazza, recuperated a bit, but then we headed up to the Tower of Durin, but we ran into a Wraith of a Dwarven Lord who gave us a run for our money, me in particular. I got well smacked. And again, we called it a day at that point and headed back to Rivendell. They're getting used to seeing us now at Rivendell. So
And
our
then,
loyalty cut points are mounting, which is good.
and then last session.
Again, back to Daz's base camp, but it was a struggle this time. And many delays and apparently getting lost because we were a tired lot when we got there. And we had to rest many days to even feel up to the approach. But then we battered our way up to Durin's Tower. And Gwyndor, maybe you can take over since you got the excitement at that point.
Yeah, so the story was that once you're at the top of Durin's Tower, all things will become clear. And once I got to the top, I could see both far to the west and far to the east. It's as if I could see from the very eagle tops of the Misty Mountains. And from there, we were promised that if there was one question that we could ask, we would get an answer true. And so the question asked was the location of Narvi's forge, Narvi being the great mithril worker that we are seeking, his law we are seeking to assist in the, actually, I suspect the real reason is that our patron, Saruman, all interested in all things to do with rings, will be very interested in that. But as will the keepers of She Who Sleeps, Nethray, the great Noldorian elf, I believe, and colleague formerly of Celebrimbor himself, of the Second Age, the great smith who created the rings in the first place. But the question was asked up in Durin's Tower, and the answer that we got was that it was to be found in this sort of the western
Westgate.
West Moria.
West Moria.
Yeah.
And we took the journey into Moria itself. So we're now actually in Moria. James.
Gwyndor is such a valiant warrior that he dismissed the fact that we got attacked by wraiths at the top of the tower.
Shadow
it was as mere
spirits.
nothing to an elven lord as himself.
They fortunately called on the name of the White Wizard to drive them off.
Yeah.
And that would prove to be not only the first time, or proved to only be the first time that they did so, because that name escaped their lips several times.
Yeah, it's very handy.
Yeah.
Very handy. So we went down into Moria. We are basically descending down something called the Endless Staircase, or the Endless Stairs, which we believe was built early in the construction of Moria by Durin's folk. The Endless Stair literally travels right through Moria. However, early on, towards the top, we did find it was our Bremen who found, in fact, a small redoubt, a place of safety that we could securely return to. We only found one way in and one way out. We suspect there are more, but so cunningly crafted was the place that we could not find them. But after being so hopeful about it,
a statistically implausible outcome of rolling 7 d6s and still not getting a single 6.
In effect, we could rest, and we could rest securely. So we travelled down. We travelled into Moria. We then encountered, principally, of all things, in the company of Mordor orcs.
Yeah.
One particular dwarf.
Well, one thing I'll add before you end on that is that you did find that your progress was confounded.
Yes.
Because they are in the mountain galleries they were able to access through the Durin's Tower, but the ways down to the upper levels, the ways down the Endless Stair, all seem to have been collapsed on the way out. They did try to find goblin tunnels through, but were unsuccessful in that effort yet. So thus far, while they are in Moria, they have yet to find a way beyond the mountain galleries.
Yeah.
They collapsed on the way out. Are we inferring that the dwarves, while fleeing Moria, closed the tunnels off behind them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we think.
Disproved or suggests against a rumor that Gwyndor had heard.
Which was?
But the very air itself within these dark, dank tunnels were poisonous and would slay any of those who were not entirely of darkness. So far, this has proved not to be true.
I will tell you as well, for the player perspective, this is another fucking cool thing about the Moria book, is there are false rumors. So you will, the reason I'm rolling your lore checks for you and you guys aren't is because on a failed one or on a Eye of Sauron, you get different results. Some might be accurate rumors, some might be incredibly specific if you get a Gandalf rune or you get multiple successes, but on a fail, you get a false rumor.
Nice.
So, what he learned, the poisonous might be false, but
yeah, because you as all, even whatever level of familiarity with Tolkien you may have, you may remember that nobody was wearing gas masks in the Fellowship. So obviously that one was probably false, but it's a really neat way of making it feel like, wait, is that the case? I don't know.
I mean, given how strongly the Lord of the Rings and Tolkien's work was founded based on his experiences in World War One, the idea that we could get gassed, I could believe that.
Really. That also explains the artillery bombardment encounter in Moria too.
So the Hobbit film was really accurate, actually, as it turns out. What else? What was the name of this dwarf that we it's Har, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Har, the dwarf, who seemed to be in league with orcs of Mordor. The fact that there were orcs of Mordor in the depths of the Misty Mountains did not mean that they were there was some strong alliance between the orcs of the south and the orcs of the central mountains. It's more the case that probably they were there for a very particular purpose, or they were there to control or seek control and power, or maybe it is simply they're there for exactly the same things that we are there, or maybe something related. We don't know what their purposes were, but it was not some sort of great unholy alliance. It's just different factions seeking different things in different parts of the deep dark. We then fought the aforementioned orcs in an attempt, really, to sort of capture Nar and maybe find out some more, maybe find out ways that we can get through to the western part of Moria. The battle was pretty epic and pretty dangerous. It turns out orc chieftains and bodyguards are pretty hard, difficult opponents. But we managed to hold true right to the very end. When we slew our opponents, Har managed to escape deeper into the tunnels, and our attempt to sort of chase after him was foiled by a fly you fools moment as we scattered away, as we seem to have opened and awakened at least some elements of the orcish horde that lives within these tunnels.
Yeah. Mechanically, as the guys were getting to the end of the fight, we were getting to the end of the session, and it just so happened they also drove the eye. I think we talked about this a little bit in the first session, Dave, where there's a mechanic as you do things, as the Eye of Sauron comes up on dice rolls, or as you do use magical things, the eye grows wider and you may draw the attention of it. Just at the end of the fight, the guys hit a threshold where now, like, drums are going and the orcs of Mordor are all coming piling towards them. So they're like, and have to flee in order to. So that is what led everyone getting back. It also, I mean, some people were, everybody was pretty weary by that point as well. But it did put a point on how useful the. I can't remember what that heroic action is that you do in the forward stance, but that thing was super fucking helpful for you guys, because I would have, like, in the forward stance, I was rolling like 4 dice plus the D12 for the attacks with the orc captain. I lost like all but one of them on this final attacks, and they lose it on their armor saves too. So when you get a piercing blow on some of those more powerful things, that demoralize effect. Oh, I can't remember what it's called. Is it on the GM screen? Let's see. It is not.
It's called Intimidate Foe.
Okay.
Is the task.
It's on the Moria battle mat. Yeah, and that was it turned out to be really, really useful. Although, I mean, it puts the person doing it in a bit of risk because they get +1, against them. Anything else that you guys recall? Oh, and Vague had, when you slept in that place, you gained that favored role. Any dwarves sleeping in there in the alcove will gain a similar bonus. Your character, you've got that, trait that does that, but it does make you, I guess, even more favored, maybe? I don't know.
Well, there's one thing just out of the thing on the cultural virtues of the dwarves. One of those is where you can do a favored attack and roll the Intimidate Foe as one action.
Oh, that's fucking cool.
Once per combat. But
nice.
It's
you guys are holed up somewhere in the north, in the upper areas.
I'm not sure where we are.
No, they have fled. They
retreated.
Yeah, they have fled Moria altogether. They are back in Rivendell. There were far too many orcs who were. I think if there was a brief discussion of using that place could very well be their tomb, because there were so many orcs who had been alerted by this. And they had already spent, I believe, like almost 2 weeks in Moria, and then another week, a little more than that, getting up to there, and then almost a week reaching the place. So it was more than a month since they had first set out from Rivendell. It would be probably as much. Well, it would be 2 weeks to reach back. And then there was one other aspect of Har that Vague was able to notice as well. I don't know if you recall where
he is from the Far East, where the Easterlings. So I don't really view him as a real dwarf. He's from a branch long under the shadow.
So we have talked about the fellowship phase. Before we started, we did not do the fellowship phase for the last session, so let's maybe do that first. What would you guys like as your fellowship actions? You'll have two. One of the ones that was free and one of the ones that you can pick from whichever.
I think it was the... Have we got a scholar still?
You did yesterday and you do today, but we would have
Okay.
been the makeup of last session's party that you would have had. So you had
I think it's the pondered, storied, and figured maps was very useful.
yeah.
So, given
Yeah.
our struggles on the journey last time, I think that would be good to have.
Okay. And then what about your second? You are now down because you are both down a Breelander and you did not take the Strengthen the Fellowship action. Currently, you'll be going into this session with 4 fellowship.
That's a blow.
Mm-hmm. So what do we think?
So we could take the as our regular. We could take the Strength and Fellowship.
You could, yep. Yep.
Yeah, I think that sounds a good idea.
Yeah.
It's probably a good idea. It sounds like.
So, given our habit of shouting "Yo, Saruman" at important points,
I'll point out you can write a song of victory as well, which allows you to ignore being weary. Someone makes a song roll. Hero succeeding in the roll ignore the effects of being weary for the length of the heroic venture. Singing a song in combat is considered a secondary action.
Oh, where's that? Oh, that sounds good.
Page 123.
Nice.
It has the write a song fellowship action, and then it tells you what it is, just because I know you have one in the bank right now, which was, I think, a walking song.
that's a walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could do that.
Yeah.
So there were a couple of you who were affected by weariness last time. Amlath won't be affected by travel this time, but...
So, which two should we take? The Song of Victory, the Strength and the Fellowship, or the Ponder, Storied, and Figured maps? 2 of those.
Yeah, because the Fellowship did come in handy with... you can call on Point of Fellowship to get a magical success on Awe. And that's what you
I
use.
wasn't playing them, right?
Was that, Dave?
My character wasn't here last session, so I'm not choosing one, correct?
You wouldn't. Everyone's not individually in every fellowship phase other than the Yule fellowship phase. The party chooses one, and then they make a selection for the one free one from the makeup of the fellowship in that fellowship phase.
Okay, so it was only Yule that we all
Exactly, where everyone gets one. You get more skill points during Yule, and everyone gets to take an individual action during Yule.
So, shall we take the Strength and Fellowship and the Song of Victory and skip this time the map reading?
Or do we do the map reading and the song? It sounds like the travel part has been harrowing.
Yeah, the events, Ponder, Storied, and Figured maps is something that you guys don't get to see, but what it does is adds +1 to the events, which means you guys have dodged some pretty awful Sauron results thus far.
What do you think?
Is the fellowship one that big? I wasn't here when you guys were using it, so I don't know how important that is.
Have you exhausted Fellowship yet?
No.
Close last time, I think, because you actually had a
Was it?
a scrap, and then you had a rest. But we've only had like a short rest twice, I think, when it wasn't just like days that were passing by.
Yeah. Well, we had 7 then.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think having 5 would be good.
So what do we think then?
So then,
The song-
or pondered, storied, and figured maps.
So I said pondered. You'd accuse me of self-interest, since that would.
No, because I think we do need to find a way to get through and deeper into West Moria, and if there's anything you can do to help us discover and understand that.
Yep. And a question: how good are you at singing?
2.
What's the
Two
scale?
2.
Oh,
Well, you've
Oh,
got to
that's the-
succeed at a song to get the benefits. Otherwise,
thought
all
you
you're doing
personally-
is humming while you get hit.
Yeah, John's thinking karaoke on New Year's Eve.
I did. I was ready to tackle it as a player, James. 0. Amleth does not sing. I mean, he's a 0.
Then it probably won't work for you. You got to have to roll the Gandalf rune to succeed.
And everyone has to succeed for it to
But
take place.
for you to get the benefit, you need to succeed.
Yeah.
So basically, Gwyndor and Nimloth would get the benefit, but you wouldn't, most likely.
It's a non sequitur, but the Return to Moria video game, there's a very fucking thematically cool thing where when you like bring light back to certain parts of Moria, you have to stand before an ancient dwarven statue and sing, and it actually fucking sings in Khazad or whatever.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very well done.
Okay, Cap. That's my arm. I'll go look for it on Steam.
The only downside is it seems that orcs can hear that shit. I've been killed once by Uruk as I was breaking into song. Yeah. Oh boy.
Can I suggest then, let's go Pond and Sword stuff and Fellowship.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
It appears to have saved our butt
Yeah.
in the past.
We're going to have to, but I do like the song idea, maybe for the next one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Because when everyone gets to take an action during, it's neat seeing it going through a full year and then going back to the Yule thing where everybody can take an action instead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you? Graham, I'm sorry to interrupt too. Graham, do you have an ale horn around your neck?
Is that how it sounds?
No. It looks like you've got. Oh, it's your fucking mic. I thought you had, because I've seen friends who have like an ale horn because you can't set them down, right? So they have them on a string, so they just hang around their neck. I thought you had a fucking ale horn. It's a hot water bottle.
only peasants don't have ale horn stands, Kev.
I know, but I mean, like the.
Oh, good
Yeah,
grief.
see,
go.
you guys have
Viking has a proper stand for their ale horn.
clearly.
There
Then
you
you
go.
don't know the degenerate, Ren fairs that I would hang out with in my drinking days.
I might know some of them actually, but
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah, sorry, Graham. I didn't mean to distract. I saw the top of your what do you call it? Of your hot water bottle, and I thought you had it hanging around your neck. Like that is a man who was prepared. Excellent.
I like it.
Yeah.
just so you know,
Sorry.
All
That's
I have
funny.
is a back scratcher. That's all I got.
And Return to Moria is 36% off, but the deluxe edition bundle is 46% off. So I might just be adding that to my Steam game list.
Nice.
I sank a lot of hours into that. I've hit a point where I missed a point where I was supposed to upgrade my gear, so I'm just getting shit stomped by orcs 24. So I have yet to go back and correct it, and then Marvel Rivals came out. But it is an excellent game, really, really great. I got a ton of great fun out of it. Anyway, that's actually playing that is what prompted me to think about this for our game. To be honest, so we have this holiday campaign to think, and my purchase of Moria, it's that video game to thank for it. So
Cool.
yeah. Then, if we are ready to set out for Moria, we have not got any further rumors. Why doesn't everyone pick their role for travel, and then we'll get underway?
Yeah. And just to say, so while we've been at Revendell,
Yeah.
that Vig has pondered his life choices with. He's normally a talky man,
Yeah.
but he's he's borrowed a forge in Rivendell.
Yeah.
The elves were no doubt intrigued to see a dwarf at work, but he's got a keen edge to his axe now.
Hey, everyone likes seeing a kid play with toys, so of course they'd be happy to see you. A
And
keen
he's been
axe.
practicing swinging it.
Very cool. Okay. So Nimloth's going to be a huntsman. Vega's going to be the guide. Gwyndor has been our lookout. And then
All right.
Amlath, are you our scout?
Yes.
That does not sound confident. What's
Well, I
your...
was trying to remember what I have. I think it's a 2. Yeah, I got a 2. Yes, it is what it is.
All right.
0.
So we are ready then to head out for the winter. Let's start things off with Vague. Would you kindly give us a travel check, please?
I have a good feeling about this. Heading off towards Mordor to Moriah in winter.
In the winter.
Absolutely sounds like the right
We
thing.
can actually follow our own footprints, which we've made about 5 times down this trail.
Extraordinary success. Look at that. Holy smokes.
Wow.
All right. Anna says congratulations. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, Dazza, good to see you.
Okay. So you are making your way all the way. Where's that? All the way down to here, guys, before our first event. And I'm rolling 2 of these and 1 of these. Let's see. Okay. So our first event is... Let's see. It's a welcome back, Sean, because you'll be rolling an explore check for us, please, at -1.
Okay. Explore. This is going to be dicey. Pun intended.
That's how we want to wrap up 2024. Oh! It is in striking distance of Hope. If you do you have a distinctive feature?
I have Rhymes of Lore, Swift, and True-Hearted.
For this particular thing, that none of those I don't think will apply. So if you roll a 5 or a 6, you could get a success out of that, or you take the failure.
A 5 would be a 12, right?
5.
Just a
Oh,
6.
yeah, you need a 6. Shit, yeah. Yep.
The GM just trying to squeeze me out of those things. But then we go,
Hey, it's almost the year end, man. Fiscal year end for Narrative Metacurrency is tonight.
Yeah, Sean, you only have to roll a 7 on your D6. And then it'll work.
you'd be totally fine. I'm just going to take it.
You take it. All right. So then, this unfortunately bodes ill. This you had heard from. She was, I'm assuming, doing something else, like maybe researching, or was called back to Lorien for Yule. But Lothiriel told you about the shadow that she felt had been falling over the party. Oh, incidentally, I'm going to bring the eye down to a lower level here. Lothiriel had spoke of a shadow that she felt was falling over, or whose watchful eye had been on you, and you most definitely feel that. Everyone is going to gain 2 fatigue, except for Amlath, and everyone is going to give us a Valor check, please.
Are we adding the fatigue we had in the first session, or does that go down when you're...
That'll be gone. Yeah, that'll be removed.
Okay, so... A Valor?
Oh.
Valor, please, yeah.
A 1 and a 3.
Okay.
Where is the...
Valor's the top, above your treasure, I think.
Yeah.
See,
Okay, Valor.
Page.
By the rewards? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now, anyone wish to spend hope on this roll? Or do you take the 1 shadow point? What it does is successful is reduce it by 1 to 0. Otherwise, everyone gains 1 shadow point from despair.
Roll a d6.
If you want to spend a shadow, yeah, or spend hope, yeah, you reduce your hope by 1.
I'd like to spend all my shadow.
Nimloth, you're off by 4. Okay, so then, yeah, it's success. So you don't gain any shadow, but reduce your hope by 1.
I will do so.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Little pep me up. That's all it is.
Nice. Okay. So You don't. So Amlath's failure does not affect him.
Yeah, right. Come on, buck up, everyone. My goodness.
That's good enough for you, so no shadow points for you. Gwindor, are you following the trend here and spending hope as well?
Yeah.
Okay. This is where something like True-Hearted would come into play, so you would be able to roll
Gotcha.
a second.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And actually, you know what? So that won't be enough for Gwindor, but Amlath, because you have one called True-Hearted, right? Just a feature? Why don't you roll a second dice? Because you got a great success. As long as you get enough total to get yourself over the target number, you would also have a success left over that you could share with Gwindor.
There we go.
There you go. Okay. So Gwindor, nobody gains shadow. What is it that Amlath does? You can definitely feel the weight of it upon you all. The trip in the autumn was unwelcoming, most definitely. This seems even faster and even more urgent, and unfortunately and even more urgently unwelcoming as you're traveling. And unfortunately this time, you do not have Oswald to remind you of all those happy times in Rivendell. The mirth that the Breelander brought to the Fellowship is unfortunately not present today. So, but Amlath, what is it that you say that in particular alleviates Gwindor's despair?
I think Amlath is doesn't have the mirth. He has grim determination, and he is recharged. You know, he was off doing something else, and it gave him a little respite, if you will. And so he's back, and he's ready to be an anchor for this company, and says, Gwindor, hold forth. We have great things to achieve, and we are only just beginning. We are with you, my friend. So,
what is it about this trip that was, having set forth from Rivendell once again, you're a warden, you were used to doing this. What was it that was playing on Gwindor's doubts to lead to that potential despair?
The size and the depths of Moria. This time we've been in Moria, and we are returning inevitably to those dark tunnels, those dark, fetid tunnels, where we don't even know. As a warden, I like to know where I'm going, and with Moria, all we know is that there is great evil in there, and we do not know the way.
Yeah. Okay. So with your stout companion, however, your resolve is steeled. Your heart is not affected.
Yep.
Okay, then that is our first event. Next up, Vague, would you kindly give us another check? So everyone should have 2 fatigue at this point. Except for Amlath. Very nice.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
And a Gandalf in
That's
his pocket
Gandalfs.
for every roll.
Yeah.
So that
you don't have to
was-
worry about much if you just roll Gandalfs every time. It's just
I don't think I've ever rolled one. I just roll the eye.
Yes, a Gandalf and a double 6, and a Gandalf and a 5 and 6.
that's
So-
all you do.
Wow.
Have that in combat.
Your next is just going to be, I'm assuming you're going to Daza again to park your pony. Is that right? Or are you guys heading up? Not for nothing.
Eventually, Gotcha. And drop off our pony.
Yeah, not for nothing.
And
You're,
count his ponies.
getting the pony down up the side of Dura's gate is not helpful too, but like it sure would make getting up that mountain a lot easier if you could rely on a mount to offset some of that fatigue. Right?
Yeah.
I don't want Branka to get into danger.
Fair enough. A responsible pony owner. That's good. Whatever the Eriador equivalent of the ASPCA is, you will not be reported.
I'm not frivolous like one of these elves. I'm a responsible dwarf.
Ooh.
You named your dwarf, your pony after Paragon Branka?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right. Okay, so
You saw me
this...
coming.
You can count on James for some Dragon Age references pretty much every time.
All right, so then, guys, we this will be now looking to Nimloth actually for this next one. So Nimloth, you are trying to kind of keep everyone fed and do what you can to add to the stocks of the group. Would you give us a hunting check at -1, please?
Okay. With my hunting knife, I get a +1.
Yes, so does regular. No modifier. Another great success. Awesome. So fortunately, there is, Nimloth, a near mishap at one point. You are nearly injured that would have set people back by an extra day. What do you think it is that you do to avoid that?
I think it's because we're in kind of like not mountainous area, but like hilly area, right?
Yeah, this is definitely foothills territory.
Yeah, so I think it's like he's out, he's stalking, he's hunting, and he just almost slips on some loose rock on the slope of one of the hills, and he's gonna like wipe out and maybe end up rolling down the hill or whatever. But he grabs onto like a tree that's like kind of wedged itself out of the rocks or whatever, and it's just enough to like regain his footing and get back on solid ground again.
Excellent. Yeah, so you fortunately you suffer no ill effect from this. Everyone gains 2 fatigue except for Amlath. And we have 1 more day's travel. So thus far, you have traveled. That is, this is an 18-day trip thus far. So then, what was that?
No, I'm just wondering. If it's a day, do we get the? No, we don't. Do we get the benefit of a short rest? Not a long rest because we're on the road.
You would get a short, but in order to gain the rest, you need to be in a safe place to get fatigue back.
And that's the same for shorts.
The same.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, the way the mechanics would work is that if you take a prolonged rest in a safe location, you get 1 fatigue back, and your character gets to count short rest as prolonged rest. But it's all the other qualifiers are still there, so you would need to be a short rest in a safe place.
Okay.
Yeah. The short rest for safe place is only for fatigue as well. You would still get endurance back. So if you guys had a combat encounter, you could just travel the next day and you'd get double your, as long as you don't have wounds, you'd get double your strength rating or heart rating back in endurance.
Sure.
Yeah. So is that what you were thinking, is whether there was going to be fatigue back?
Yes, it was more whether whilst journeying midday when we have our lunch, whether that counts as a short rest during our travel.
It does count as a short rest for the purpose of recovering endurance. It does not for the purpose of fatigue because you're not in a safe place.
So yeah. Okay.
Was there something else you were thinking of for the short rest?
No, it was exactly that. It was exactly that. It was because my short rests count as long rests.
Yeah. No. Gwindor is the insufferable one who's first up during a hike. Okay, guys, let's carry on. You motherfucker. All right. Then your final day of travel. Vague, at least before you reach your destination. Would you kindly give us a travel check once again? Nice. Okay. So you were able to reach the west gate here. Boom. And there's... you each suffer 1 more fatigue for this, but I'm not going to roll for an event because it was such a short period. What you find waiting for you is a very modest cabin. It seems as if he has taken his axe to a... to some of the nearby trees and has managed to build himself a small, modest, crudely built cabin. His stock in ponies has dwindled, however. down to 1. He is back with his uncooperative initial pony once again. And you would see, as you're coming down into the valley where Daza had previously been keeping his kind of storehouse, a blanket of snow, a thick covering of undisturbed snow on the roof, and a welcoming plume of smoke coming from the chimney, because a dwarf, of course, is going to have a fucking fire inside their home. Come on. How do you guys approach Daza?
Oh, stride up to the door and knock on the door.
We're closed for the season.
Surely not for good friends, Master Daza.
You hear that, and the door, as he runs over towards it, the door is cast open. Fake! What are you here for? And in this weather?
Well, the winds don't blow down deep in Moria, so we thought we'd try our chance again.
Good. Treasure waits for no dwarf.
I see you only have 1 pony.
Oh,
I trust you've not been eating them or using them for kindling.
Oh, you think I'd mistreat any of my stock in such a way?
For a shiny gold penny, I suspect.
We set them through. This weather is no weather for a pony. Even one as sturdy as Branca. Get him inside, and you yourselves too.
Excellent.
Did your elf woman not have brown hair before?
Well, you know how it is. You get rid of one and another one turns up.
Who are you then?
You know what they're like. Nimloth, maybe you can introduce yourself to this fine dwarf.
I would if you'd quit talking.
Oh, I like this one.
It makes a break from all your damn singing, it has to be said.
You can see Gwyndore's just going.
Nimloth of Mirkwood. Well met. Good friend of Vague.
Mirkwood? So we have elves from one forest, we have elves from a second forest now, and we've got you. Hello there, Gwyndor.
Good day.
I'm Leith.
Good to see you, Daza.
And you as well. I hope you did not bring more of that elven bread. Gets caught in the teeth. Right.
We won't give you any.
Garlic.
But those cakes, however, you did not think to bring
you
more.
a few.
Oh.
With icing on top, no less, which I felt was suitable for the season.
Oh, there is no better way to celebrate the Yule than with icing-covered cakes. Come in. Tell me, what plans? I questioned whether you be returning or not after the harrowing and that betrayer in the ranks. A dwarf allied with orcs.
Well, your rumors were right about an untrustworthy dwarf.
Oh, indeed.
And we need to do something about that, I think.
Oh, this one? He seemed mad about him. I've got more about that.
Uh-huh.
Well, it seems. Come. We've got, I can't remember if cocoa exists in this. I suppose tea? Like, what dwarves don't feel like a tea type, but I don't think coffee exists in Middle Earth. Cocoa does feel like something that Tolkien would wave his hands with.
Spiced ale.
Spiced ale, there we go. Yeah, spiced ale. Yeah, that's true. Like spiced wine or something like that would be most definitely.
Warm it up, spice it.
Yeah.
Add some cloves.
Yeah, a little mulling sachet. Exactly. This is now a cooking channel. So he is, you can smell he has that
cooking.
started up, and he sits down to share what he's told you. I've not heard more about this eastern dwarf of which you spoke, but that one that set up the betrayer. I have a name now. He tried to pull something with a group of dwarves out of the Blue Mountains. He called himself Goldie. Wild-eyed. And it seems he's got in his head that those who would betray King Dane and enter the mountain are not worthy of life. There was one broke his leg quite badly. He'll never walk proper again, nor swing an axe, on account of a stone trap. This Goldie led them directly into it. They were probing the western gate, mind, and it seems Goldilocks lurks in these hills as well.
Goldilocks?
Goldie lurks. It said he might have bears as well.
Porridge.
That figures. That figures. It has to be said, Daza.
Have you heard of such a dwarf? You can give us a, because you're fairly well traveled. There's a chance, I think, with maybe a
Great success?
Yeah, like a great success or an extraordinary success. You might have heard of this fella.
Using lore or?
Lore or travel, I think. Yeah, because I know travel isn't supposed to be like an information thing, but it's also what you're pretty good at. Great success. So, I mean, you remember a... you remember hearing about... I don't think you ever met him necessarily, because he didn't get an extraordinary success. But you remember hearing of someone named Goldie. And Goldie seemed particularly obsessed about Moria, about Khazad-dûm, and would dwell on it and talk about it quite a bit. He's obviously far too young to have ever experienced it, but dwarves, you know, are at times prone to fixation on certain ideas. You had not thought of Goldie until you heard the name. It's someone you encountered probably as you were a messenger for the the dwarves of the Blue Mountains, but having your memory prompted with the name and the talk of Moria, I think that's what you put together of like, shit, like you think you may have met this person before. He was obsessive about it, and dwarves don't get less obsessive in old age. And he must be a Longbeard at this point. So... if you are stroking your beard as well, too, I think Daza may actually pick up on that. Vague? Is that name familiar to you?
He is somebody from way back in my youth.
Oh, I
encountered him.
He's been taken by the sickness.
Aye. He was obsessed by Khazad-dûm.
Curious that he'd be trying to keep them out then. The last that those in my employ, what they said is he claimed to be acting for the true king, King Dane, to keep those out of Moria. I've had to keep a careful watch around here, lest he comes round trying to bury an axe in my bed whilst I'm in it. But no sign of him yet. Perhaps he's scared of horses.
Daft old bugger.
Daft indeed, but there's at least one dwarf who'll never walk right again on account of his schemes.
There's a lot of our kin that are doing untoward work. Khazad-dûm is, or shall I call it now Moria, is shedding a dark shadow over our kin.
It is a thing that haunts dwarves quite deeply. That's why it's best thought of as the past, and a place to build a better future. Steal grand treasure from there. It's dead, past. I don't know the obsession, but one might call me obsessed, living here with my pony.
Aye, we need to look to the future, not dwell too much in the past.
Agreed. The treasures from Khazad Dûm may be brought for a brighter future. And while the king, in his grand wisdom, may not recognize it, perhaps by succeeding in our task we can show him how best the future might be built, with the benefits of the past. So, I assume you did not come here for my spice wine? Or are you going back to the
in
pit?
this weather, I'm not sure that's entirely true. I feel we could enjoy, for a fee, of course, a bit of your hospitality in this season to recuperate from our journey.
Well,
it went well, but before we take that big yomp up to Durin's Tower, we could do with a little breather.
I
and
see that you've brought a new axe as well.
Oh, this is my own, but I spent a wee bit of time in the forges at Rivendell, showing those elves how an axe should be reforged. But she's a wee bit keener than before, ready to bite into some orc that still pollutes our old capital.
That is good, because whatever you did last time, it stirred up a hornet's nest. The orcs have been very active as of late.
So you still see a lot of them afoot?
Oh, indeed. You may not have noticed, but I've rebuilt this place at a different part of the valley. They became too troublesome. I'm not in the fit state to be slaying orcs on the regular no longer. So we've moved deeper into the valley, further back from the west gate.
Very sensible. I guess we'll need to be on our guard there.
Oh, indeed.
And hopefully we can give them some food for thought to distract them for another few seasons.
Nimloth, would you give us a... Let's see here. Nimloth, what is your lore?
A mighty 2.
2? What's your target number? For wits.
Oh, my wits. Target number is 12.
12. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So... in the course of your conversation with Daza, there are 2 other bits of information that come up.
Oh.
Let me roll this here.
Thank you.
Okay.
I've figured that out. Happy early New Year to the folks out in Europe.
Yeah, what time is still a couple hours off from New Year in the UK, I think. What time?
It's 8 in the UK, 9 here.
9 there, okay.
So the Egypts are already blowing themselves up.
All
The
right.
voice great.
UK.
Yep.
Fireworks are banned in my city, but that's not stopping anyone, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear the occasional explosion outside.
All right.
San Francisco embraces fireworks. It is. If you go to Chinatown, it is crazy. Like if you're not used to it, if you're not like, if you're thinking, oh, we'll see a couple fireworks, you are going to be. You're going to be stunned. It's a war zone. It's a fireworks war zone there.
It's not even Chinese New Year.
Yeah, right. I know, but it goes waste no opportunity. They do good work. Good fireworks action there.
Well, if it wasn't for America and fireworks, kids from Stranger Things would never be able to fight off the Shadow Demon.
Yeah. Okay, so there's two things that he has heard about. One, while he's heard more information about the Dimrill Dale. This may not be news to the players necessarily, but for the characters. While it is dangerous to be in the Dimrill Dale at night, the orcs cannot abide sunlight. So if the sun is out in Dimrill Dale on the eastern side of there, and the gate on the eastern side is said to be open, it is rife with orcs over there, but there is another way in lower down. It does come with peril. The other thing is something he heard from his other kind of expedition. What they told of is there are men living somewhere up on the slopes of Zirak Zagil. They seem men. And while they did not encounter them, they seemed from the arrow shafts that they found in a goblin corpse, it suggests that they are hostile to at least some of the orcs in here. But the way that they spoke of it, they did not seem to be traveling as treasure seekers. They seemed to be traveling as if they lived there. And as such, Daza did send back for news from Tharbad to consult with the librarians at the old library. And they've heard tale of a exiled lord, a chieftain who is exiled to the Misty Mountains from the far side, from the woodmen of Mirkwood. So there may be a community of men living somewhere up here, dating back to that exile. This is relatively new, but perhaps another location, if you could find it, another location that might either afford a safe place if they can be found to be allies. The woodmen of Mirkwood, Nimloth, you would know, traditionally are allies of the elves, or at least not hostile towards them. And the other thing is, if they're living somewhere up here, this may be a reasonable assumption, or may just be dwarven, assumption that men must be taking up something that dwarves built and living in it. And if so, it may have a way of accessing Khazad Dûm as well.
Either way, it might be worth finding them.
So, those are the rumors he's heard. Is for one, while the Dimrill Dale is full of orcs, the sunlight drives them away. So there may be another entrance further down, and that would get past the barriers in the mountain galleries. It would then be a long, 50-mile trek through Moria, but at least you would be in, and in theory have a route through. The other thing is these men up there.
We open to another path?
Well, yeah, we didn't seem to have a path through before, so...
But there's this dwarf as well. This Har. Though he not be of Durin's folk, it's an affront, even to me, to have someone allied with orcs. You may recall his hand was, the use of it at least, was lost in a battle with orcs. So, and he's a veteran of the Battle of Five Armies. He has no love for the orcs of the Misty Mountains. He just is a little more treasure inclined, but when it comes to a dwarf siding with an orc, I will spare you the rantings, but he does sometimes get lost in screaming about Har.
So indeed, fellows, or we could take this route that we find another route in to try and find Master Navi's forge, or we can have a wee distraction and do something about this Har fellow. The elven lass has been asleep for a long while. I'm sure she can wait another season or so.
Only if we plan to keep
And if she
continuing
wakes
these
up by
journeys.
herself, all well and good, huh?
Well, I'm all right with continuing these journeys after this season. Wink, wink, mention.
So, THX said in chat, I think Kevin really likes this game, so I'd expect to see you lads back in Tolkien's world again sooner rather than later. You're not wrong, THX.
Wrong.
I have really enjoyed running this game, and this is actually one of the top 6 games requested by the players. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow in my overview, but there is a very popular game among the player roster, so we're definitely playing more of this in the new year. But for now, that leaves a couple of options for you guys to do today. What are you thinking?
So either we look for another entrance, we set out after this Har, or we go make the acquaintance of these men. Does that seem...
Bless you.
Thank you.
Does that seem the choices before us? I would be inclined to make the acquaintance of the men. Bless you, Vig.
So too much spice in that wine, forgive me.
Indeed.
I'll
Indeed.
go lighter on the nutmeg next time.
And with the horses indoors, there's a bit of dander. That's
This is some funny stuff. I got some from some Portuguese dwarfs.
Sebastio. Yeah, it may not sound like a dwarven name, but
I'm inclined to make the acquaintance of these men to see if they can be a resource and possibly more information. But if you feel like it's an urgency to set off after this foul dwarf, then I can be persuaded.
I think we just need to find a way to Narvli's workshop. And if we think Nar is the way to do it, or Har is the way to do it, then fine. Otherwise, we need to press on with why we are here. It would be good to meet allies this close to the mountain, but I'm not sure that they would necessarily assist or accompany us into the very tunnels of Moria, the Black Pit itself. And so how useful they would be to us once in there, it's hard to say.
You okay, James?
Oh, it's my allergy. I sneeze 7
shit,
times
okay.
and then I'm good. 7 sneezes and I'm done.
It's the ponies. It's the ponies.
Yeah.
Right, everyone's counting now, so let's just...
Yeah. If we get to 8, we're calling. What's? I'm curious what the codes are in the various country. What is it in Amsterdam? Is it? It's 911 in America. It's,
Oh yeah.
what is it? 112. Is that what it said?
Yeah.
That's funny. It's interesting. How they
999
choose,
in
how each-
the UK, I think. 911 here.
Yeah. Anyway,
What's the number for 911?
I think 999 works and 911 works as well.
Yeah, we're not encouraged to use them though.
So
I'm
then,
a bit, I was a little hopeful that this rumor that perhaps they live in dwarven dwellings and might provide a different entry could be two birds for the price of a hen if we
Maybe.
if we go in that direction. But
How far are they? How far are they
I'll
from
be right back,
Durin's
guys. I
Tower?
should the doorbell.
okay,
Yes. How much wearier are we going to be by trying to chase after these people?
you need to work out in that
Near
waterfall.
Durin's Tower, we can use them as a closer base camp to Durin's Tower.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then we
Yeah.
can try and finish this hard bugger. And
Yeah.
then that'll maybe clear the way a bit to go after Navi's forge.
You all need to work out with me in that waterfall in between seasons. You all get so tired so quickly.
Well,
It must be something about not washing that must do it. Must
but
try.
from Durin's Tower, we couldn't find a way through all the collapsed tunnels.
No.
No.
But we may be able to get off the dwarf.
I suspect there were ways. We just couldn't find them.
But if we try another way into Khazad-dûm, would we have a higher chance of, like, if we go to a different gate, would that make it easier to, or we would have a longer path? Is that?
There are some gates that are not available to our law or knowledge.
Indeed.
Sadly.
Really? You cannot speak friend and enter.
Yeah.
So the west gate is locked and the east gate is full of orcs. And Durin's Tower's got nobody.
But
It
it's
might
also
be.
no path down that we are aware of.
That we're aware of.
That we're
The
Maybe
men,
the men, yeah. I was going to say, go ahead, John.
the men might provide a closer base camp. They might provide another gate in. Of course, it's just a rumor.
Yeah.
And there might be a source of more information.
Yeah, it might be worth asking them.
At least
And then
dropping
decide
by.
there. But if they're near Durin's Tower, that would be useful.
And if we do happen to find another way in, it would be quite a coup.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah,
I
fine.
think Dazza might be pleased with us if we visited justice upon Ha.
That's fine. We can do
That's
that.
no bad thing.
Yes.
Or is
Can't
a
say
bad
I'd
word?
mind it myself.
Or is bad?
Because Nimloth Dazza's another potential patron.
Nimloth working on a black steel chainmail glove.
Oh.
Mm.
Now it's kind of brass knuckly.
Yeah, it's working on the top piece. I need to work on another finger so I can
Uh-huh.
keep it on.
Yeah.
I have no
If you-
pattern.
If you work that into the garment itself, just at the end, the doorman will never see it. You can just slip it on when you need it. Like it's just at the end of your sleeve. And the next thing you know, someone takes your stool and you slip
It's
your
like
hand into that.
hand into
let 'em
the
know what's
gauntlet.
up.
Ooh.
Yep. I like it.
I like it. Why is your pocket so heavy? Nothing. Leave me
Yeah,
alone.
nothing. Yeah. Stop feeling my pockets.
Why are you checking my pocket? Pocket weight.
Mm-hmm.
What has he brought in his pockets is...
Yeah. I got my first. I was traveling at Christmas, and I got my first. Where I'd heard about this, but so they have the scan thing, or is you raise your arms type deal, and I get out of there, and he shows me they have a screen, and they have a red area. Like he goes and he points at it, and basically it was my crotch that was red, and he's like, so do you want to you want to do it here or do you want to do it behind a screen? And I said, let loose, do your worst. Let's see what this is about. And man, sure enough, they get up in there pretty good. It was, from a security perspective, I was impressed. Like he did not really, this was not perfunctory. He we got acquainted and he gave me the full, up in there search. I don't know if I could have. I don't know if I intended to secrete something. Secrete. Can you do that? Can you make that a verb?
Kev's gonna be watching this video later and be like, "What is Sean talking about?"
Seriously. But if I intended to get something through, I don't think I could. It was pretty thorough.
So what was it?
I have no idea. Like he did, so he had, he put on like the latex, and there was nothing. It just ends up. He goes, "Okay, you're good," and waves you through. I mean, whatever it picked up, I have no idea.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. And Kevin will never know.
What did you guys do?
An airport security story while we were recording. It was.
Well, I just had we've like in Canada. They just got the Canada Post folks came back from their strike not recently, and it was my Canada Post delivery guy who's a super guy. So he's a chatty Cathy though. So I got caught up chatting to him and trying to go back inside. So then what have we decided on then?
I think we might make the acquaintance of the men, right? That's our...
You can try.
Probable. Try.
So here's one thing we talked about yesterday as well. Now, I thought it would be worth reiterating. So there's the kind of like skill challenges in this game, I believe are called skill endeavors. Because, of course, they have to have a different name. The skill endeavors are kind of what you use to model like looking around or any kind of extended task. And one of the ways you use it in this kind of like sandbox, exploration place is you move to a place on the map and then you'll be making skill endeavors to try and locate the place. And depending on how well known the place is or how well concealed it is, that will impose penalties on it. And then we also roll for an event while you guys are there. So there are 2 hexes that make up the region around the Redhorn Pass, both of which are perilous. So what you can do is, what that will mean is that you'll have 2 events in the first hex, and you won't be able to move any further. And then you can, once those are resolved, assuming you survive, then you will be able to choose to spend a skill endeavor to try and find this man, a hidey hole of men, and we'll have an event. And if it isn't successful, or if it isn't there, you could then move on to the next one. Hi, sweetie. Anna says hi. Where there will be 2 more events because it's a perilous 2 location, and then you could search for them there. You could skip the first search and just assume they're on the far side of the mountain. If I think it's not too gamey to be thinking that if they are men of Mirkwood, they may have tried to find the first available place to live, assuming that this actually exists. You may assume it's on the far side and save yourself 1 extra event, but that is the process for this. And it's the same thing for Moria too. We use the journey rules to get you to a location, and then you start looking around for a place. Right?
If we're going to talk to these men, I would go with that. I'd assume they're on the far side.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Sure. Forgive me. Dog attack. All right. Yeah. Someone else likes seeing the mailman. So, what's the plan?
Far side of the mountain, I think. We're going to assume they stopped in the first location.
Okay. How many days do we need to rest in Daza's company? You recover 1 fatigue per day that you rest here. You'll be gaining a minimum of 4, minimum of 5, a maximum of 10 fatigue on the trip to the far side of the Redhorn. If you you want to plan that way.
I'd suggest go the 5 days and try and get it all back. Unless Nimloth, how about you? How many have you got? 5? 4.
Should be 5.
Huh?
It was
I
2
have
from
5.
each event and then 1 from the last day.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't add
So
one.
5 days? Because it's going to be quite a slog to get over to
Yeah.
see these men.
What I'm doing, Dave, is I'm rolling for every day you take. I'm going to roll one of the D6s. If a 6 comes up, there's an event that occurs. Otherwise, it is uneventful.
Okay.
Okay? So if you're
And
going...
I'm not rolling any weather, so we're good.
Exactly. I'm rolling weather for this, so here we go. Let's see. Oh.
And I mentioned it.
Okay. All right. Let's. It's the winter time, so let's do something fun here. And the eye is ever watching. Let's see.
I have thought. So no one's speaking black speech or anything like that, right? Because we don't want to attract to
I mean,
or strike out in the black tongue of Mordor for no reason, and we're all just kind of look around going, "What the hell?"
I assume Vague is letting a few invectives slip out when losing at cribbage to Daza, but okay.
Oh, we're playing Pony to Ride, the Eriador edition.
Pony to ride. I'll be. Sean, did you land on what games to bring?
So there was a change where one of the hosts was feeling ill, so it all got unwound.
Oh no!
Yeah. So just going to dinner with a few folks. All good.
Nice.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure dinner will be nice. Thanks. New Year's Eve dinner is nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I am looking for. The eye. Where is it here? Huh. Eye of Sauron. There we go. You know, it is a little thing, but I really appreciate how light the Free League books are. You know, like they're very easy to tote around. Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah. I was working on Dragonbane last night, and I was carrying these around too, and like a big stack of books. It's nothing to lug them
Nice,
around.
yeah.
It's really nice. Okay. Yeah, I should really put Vaesen on the, because I'm looking at all the art in here as I'm flipping through. Vaesen is something I should give it another try to. Everything about that game, except for the one play experience I had, suggested I would love that game. But
Sean and I played it once, I think.
Yeah.
oh, nice! Did you guys enjoy it?
Nope.
Fair enough.
I played it and really enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
I've played it a fair amount, and I've had a good time with it.
What game have you played that you did not enjoy, though, Graham?
I'll come back to you on that.
Yeah, not to be negative, but I think like you seem to be in like George's camp where like there's not a game he's met that he hasn't liked, with the exception of Powered by the Apocalypse games.
Yeah.
He doesn't have.
I feel similar. I would say Fate. I'll give you time to think, Graham. I would say Fate wasn't. But having said that, City of Mist has some factors of Fate in it, and I enjoy City of Mist. Yeah.
Band of Blades, that's the one I was least feeling. Vaesen, I didn't hate or anything. I just didn't feel like why I would choose it over something else. Like
Fair enough.
Yep.
Well, I mean, James has been exposed to Cult Divinity Lost now, so I mean, he's ruined forever for horror games because
Right.
that's the best.
Well, it's a good system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vaesen or Cult Divinity Lost or both? Which one?
Cult.
Oh yeah, the setting is just 90s edgelord stuff, which I don't think it's intentional and whatnot. So like, I don't mean to diminish the creators of it, it's clearly they're going for a very specific Clive Barker vibe with the setting. But what an incredible game, though.
I don't know if I'd ever play Conan again.
Notification: the new Conan is coming out later this year. The PDF should be coming out sometime. I think it said the summer. I just got an update for Hyperion Age. Yeah, I've only run that once thus far, and I really enjoyed that session. The poison rules, in particular, when you misread them, can be really fucking deadly. All right, here we go. Revelation. I found what I was looking for. Okay. Let's see what is going on. This is a Darkland as well, so let's use those Sauron dice. Okay.
This may force me to get Rollmaster to table face to face.
What is that?
Nice. Moria.
The Moria supplement for
Middle Earth one.
Wow.
Second edition or unlimited or whatever the fuck.
Second.
We had a good time with it.
I'd probably use my action point rules rather than the percentages. But...
Okay. You play, sorry, which?
I'd probably use those action point rules rather than the percentages. The hijack of Pathfinder.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe, sorry, it's taken me this long. Maybe, I'm only saying maybe, I've struggled a little bit to engage in the one roll engine games. So that's,
yeah.
I'm not saying I hate it. I think
the mechanic is very different. I mean, it's unique.
And there's a difference between, I think, like disliking. I can't think of a single game I dislike, like where I'm like, I hate this game.
Yeah.
It's just that like some things click and some things do not.
Yeah.
One roll engine doesn't click.
Yeah.
It does eventually.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another.
Green was not my favorite, but
Which one wasn't?
Delta Green.
Oh,
Delta Green. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's all right. It wasn't spectacular, but I'm not a huge. I'm more Howardian than Lovecraftian. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Elder Gods, sure, but like,
All right. Yeah.
Behemoth.
I think DG, I prefer it to Call of Cthulhu mechanically. Talking of the Settler, it's just little improvements, nothing dramatic. But Knights Black Agents, there you go. There's a game I want to love.
Yeah.
I haven't succeeded yet, but I'll try again.
Yeah.
The Dracula Dossier and Twilight 2000 combo was pretty good.
Nice.
I've yet to have a bad combo with Dracula Dossier though, so
Yeah. Oh, it's right.
Yeah.
Cult.
I've used it with Cult. I've used it with that.
Delta Green.
Thought I use it with Delta Green. Yeah, we didn't get far enough into that though, and technically I didn't actually use the Dracula Dossier. I was using an adventure written for Knights Black Agents with it to set it up, so I didn't actually get to the point where we're doing the improvised campaign.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So the public service announcements for everybody is the Knights Black, the Dracula Dossier Kickstarter bundle that's on at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. They've been doing. And yeah, we just had like
I may get that just because there's enough stuff that I don't have.
Yeah.
It still makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, definitely.
It's all about the bundles.
So interrupt this session for a quick little games we liked and games we didn't like.
All right. Nimloth. Tell us a little bit about what you're feeling in that brief, I don't want to say flirtation because it sounds trivial, but there was a brief encounter with the Shadow when you first set out from Rivendell, but Amleth sort of steeled you. You nearly had that accident. But the welcoming hearth of Daza red-handed, as soon as you step outside, you are reminded of the blackness. Like, one of the neat things with being in the dark, or in the night at least, with mountains, is on a starry night, what you see is the sky set out above you, and then you see giant black chunks just taken out of it where the mountain looms over you. And when you do step outside to, get a fresh air, to relieve yourself, to whatever reason you stepped outside, to perhaps, hunt over these past couple of days, in the evenings, you can feel the looming dread of this over there. And it is the second night that you are resting here, so you guys can remove 2 fatigue. When Nimloth, you can feel something untoward lurking. There's just, you can feel it, that it is outside. And it seems as if when you glance at the faces of your fellows, Amlath is puffing on his pipe, Vague and Daza are engaged in a spirited board game. What is Gwindor doing? Singing, perhaps, or writing?
Yeah, I think so. I think he might be sort of going over one of the old songs of friendship.
Does he have an instrument with him, like a flute or a...
I'm going to say not. No,
okay.
He just sings
So he just,
company.
yeah, maybe he's looking at the fire and singing. But yeah. Nimloth, the winter time joy that seems to be affecting everyone else, you can feel a chill that starts at the base of your neck and works its way down your spine. And it's exactly how you felt when looking up at that utter abyssal blackness for where the mountain looms in the night. What do you do? This is Nimloth.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Graham, I was unclear on that. Everyone else is chilling out, but what do you do, Nimloth?
I think he, the first thing Nimloth does is he looks around to see if anyone else has noticed, but he sees they're gaming and singing and...
Again, Vague has a screen set up.
Doesn't want to.
Totally silly thing. So you are an office worker and you have a deadline at the end of the week.
What do you do?
Yeah,
I thought EOD was end of December.
Right.
So roll for a bluff check against middle management. So.
Well, I have my Blackberry of treachery +2.
Oh, an ancient artifact, even.
Yes,
indeed.
All right.
I think Nimloth is going to go to. It's like a window on the cabin or a door, or some where you can just kind of like look through the shutters to see if it's just maybe the mountains that's bothering him, or if there's a sense it's something else.
Okay. So what? If you open the door and look out, what I would ask that you do, let me find what I need here. Okay.
Roll a check versus menacing wind.
Yeah, actually, it's going to be another Valor check for you, please, Nimloth, and then I'll tell you what you see.
Building a ring. It was giving me some grief.
That's only a failure by 4, so you could get that with hope, potentially. You want to spend a hope and roll a d6?
No, this is me stealing myself.
Yeah. Do you have a distinctive feature that might come into play?
I was looking on keen-eyed and secretive, and unless these are orcs that are lurking, my enemy lore.
No.
And how was everybody rolling hope earlier? I'm looking on the sheet for.
Using that custom dice roller on the left side of the character sheet.
Okay. I see.
Yeah.
I'll set that later. But
if you give Sean a macro option in Roll20, he is fucking taking it.
Not to mention, if it's in the macro statue,
Exactly.
I will especially do that.
One more before the end of the year. I love it.
Sean
Yes,
will worship,
yes.
worship at the macro statue to get his macros.
I'm now
Macro
going
in the macro statue.
to force you down the river to see the Argoneth, so we can talk about macro statutes. So that is a success, which means, but it's only one success, which means you take 2 shadow points because what you can see outside Nimloth. At the edge of where the starlight illuminates.
Your boat is so much.
There's the race.
There is something from another age there.
And not an age undreamed of.
Not an age undreamed of, unfortunately. Cue the Basil Polidorius score. Dun, 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 dun. So Nimloth, you see that, and you can feel not only because you are of the elder folk as well, you would see more of this, I think, than you don't have that the cultural virtue yet of be able to see like the dead and whatnot, but you still would see more than what the mortal races would. And it's difficult to see with the wispy shifting of these shadows, but it is once again a dwarf that seems to be animated by hate, and it is glaring at you.
He calls out, "Dwarven wraith, ready yourselves."
Okay. What
And
all
I don't know if my bow is near the door or
Can I
somewhere.
call it by name? Can I say, have we met you before, hateful spirit?
So if you do go out, I do need a valor check from you as well, Gwendor, when you lay eyes on it.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. Oh, I may not do
I've
that.
met you before.
So I'll head off and start pulling on my mail.
Okay.
I generally don't make these because my valor's not very good, but yeah, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, there's no way that's... So 3 shadow for you, Gwendor. When you
I
see
think
this
it goes to 3, or I get 3.
you get 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I get 3 points of shadow for that.
Correct. Each success would have reduced it by 1. Nimloth got 2 from viewing it. You get 3 from viewing it.
Okay.
Oh,
Wow.
Where are you at for shadow right now?
Well, put it this way, I can't spend any hope really.
Oh.
Oh, it's pretty hard. It's difficult because I will just drop into misery.
Now, hold on. Let's talk about shadow flaws then, because that is a mechanical thing we sort of glossed over earlier today, because that is the way you dump all your shadow points.
Shadow scars.
Yeah, the shadow curse you're calling will dictate how that manifests, but I think it's the player who decides whether to have a shadow scar or not. The heck is it? Your journeys.
Oh, I can still spend a couple of points.
Go back to the shadow. Oh, dang. I had looked it up before, and I didn't mark it with the bookmark.
Shadows is on 137.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay.
You know, that is crazy.
All right. In game terms, player heroes whose accumulated shadow does not yet match their maximum hope may choose to remove all their current shadow, replacing it with a single shadow scar. A shadow scar is a permanent shadow point that can be removed only during a Yule Fellowship phase by choosing the Heal Scars undertaking, but is otherwise considered as a normal shadow point for all purposes. If it exceeds Oh, here we go. So there's only one way to if the shadow exceeds your maximum hope rating, you are so overburdened by your fears you become ill-favored on all rolls. The player hero must experience a bout of madness, a dangerous crisis that frees you from the burden of shadow, but may have long-term consequences. So, you're not suffering madness as of yet, but you could choose to accept a shadow scar and deal with that in the Yule phase as your Yule action.
Maybe. Perhaps not yet, but
okay.
Heading in that direction.
So there is... What is it that is... Because Gwindor, again, in his calling... what is your shadow lore? What is yours? Because... Oh, no, you're not a champion. You're a warden, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do we see on Gwindor's face when he sees this thing? Then, and then we'll talk about you addressing it.
I guess he pales, and he had come out with perhaps his bow drawn, and he knocked an arrow, and you can see he sort of almost reflexively just places the bow down, and is very still.
Okay. So Vague is getting himself ready. Amleth, what are you doing?
So I think Amleth jumped to his feet, drew his sword, and goes to the door, to the side of the door, ready to go out if called upon or defend the door.
Okay. So you get your sword out. Daza will also get up, and I'm going to spend a point of hate. The hearth grows cold. I'd like Amlath and Vague to give us your Valor check as well, please. We'll get that out of the way here. And I will track my hate. I should really get some...
I was unexpectedly good at that. I need to increase my Valor, I think.
Yeah, same here.
Nice.
I have increased my Valor, and I continue to screw up anyway.
So with a great success, you have one left over. Do you want to share that success with Vague? Because he has yet to make... Or you do want to reduce, with a great success, it would reduce the amount of shadow you gain to 1 instead of...
I'd do that.
Yeah? Spoken to someone beset by shadow.
How does Vague look? How does Vague look? Like, how does he...
Vague would gain 3 shadow after this.
You should keep it to yourself, I suspect.
Yeah.
Okay. So Amlath, you gain 1 shadow point. Vague, you gain 3. And this place has been cast into shadows. Even the candles that were lit to illuminate things are out, and the ponies are agitated. Daza will be occupied, kind of controlling them. Gwindor, you were going to say something. What were you saying?
If there's an opportunity to stand forward, he's going to try and push through the shadow, and maybe we'll wait.
Sorry, Dave. Would you mind muting yourself when you're not talking? Just because we're getting a lot of background audio that's cutting through on your side. Sorry. Sorry, Graham. What were you saying?
No, it's fine. I was going to say. I'll still say it. Have we met you before? Dwarven spirit, hateful spirit. For others of your kind have come and have been cast aside. What is it you seek, and what do you want? I kind of almost just try to see what is going on with this thing.
Okay. Why don't you give us a... That's quite courteous. Why don't you give us a courtesy check? And no worries at all, Dave. Like, fucking Anna makes noise all the time, too. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's not his thing, but he'll have a go. He'll have a
Okay.
go.
And do you have a distinctive feature that might come into play?
I've got lordly,
That absolutely would come into play here.
but I'm so far off, and my shadow is so high.
Yeesh. I mean, one hope would give you 2 dice. It's an average of
So on
6.
on average, you'd succeed.
Oh, look, go on. I've committed to this. Let me just get this down. Yeah. And I'm going to say, what should we call this? We'll call this courtesy to an evil,
On the custom dice roller, there you go.
Yeah.
an evil spirit.
Way to embrace
Go back
it,
to the
Fred.
shadow.
Yeah.
Look at that. 10. And
Well
an extra
done.
success out of this as
Yeah.
well.
To 6 there.
Okay.
Wow.
So this thing, with your courtesy and the lordliness of your kind, Gwindor, this thing seems to, while it is utterly evil, and it is no doubt utterly mad, having whatever grasping impulse has caused this thing to last this long. It seems as if there is one thing that this hates more. And it is looking at you. The galleries. You sought the galleries.
We did.
There is a door. The orcs use it.
I see. Can you, if we do our part, can you reveal the door to us?
Drive the orcs from the galleries and seek their door in the south.
Understood.
It nods to you, recognizing a lordly spirit, and dissipates in the soft falling snow.
What in the name of the Thimberel just happened?
Could we hear it as well, Kevin?
Gwindor is the only one
Okay,
who
only
did.
Gwindor.
Yeah.
I will recount this conversation
Okay.
with a former dweller in the hall who perhaps even yet, despite the depths of the hate that drives his spirit, does not wish to see the foulness of the orcs besmirch what was once great for him and his kind.
Not for nothing, you guys did spy yesterday in the gatehouse. You recall the face of Durin disfigured to be the eye.
Yeah.
So the hearth returns to fiery life, and the ponies, with some coaxing and apples, are relieved. But the shadow of having encountered this deathly thing, it remains. The other 3 days are uneventful. You recover 3 more fatigue. So you guys can clear that. And we're already at our mid-session break, guys. So why don't we take our mid-session break now, and then we will come back and see where you wish to go in Moria. So for those listening at home, we'll be back in about 5 minutes. All right. Hey, THX. Thanks. Very cool gaming system. Yeah, I agree. It's a really neat system. I've run the first edition a couple of times, and the second edition, I feel like the changes it made all have been for the better, and it's made it made for a really interesting way of playing a Tolkien-esque adventure for sure. I still have yet to kill a player character, but there's still hope. Let's see. My mail, I didn't get a chance to open it until the break, and just got a delayed delivery from Paizo, and because I'm part of the subscription, but I'm not really running anything in the Paizo world, I didn't realize it was coming, but Divine Mysteries just arrived, and it is much more substantial than I thought it was. So that is very cool. It looks like it's replacing the what do you call it? The Gods of Golarion book, or whatever it's called. That came out early in PF2's life cycle. But okay, then, what do you guys make of what you have learned?
Well, seems the spirit has told us there is a way through. Is that right, Gwendor? Was that your understanding of the spirit's
that's
message?
Right. If we clear the orcs from the galleries, we will find their door.
I feel like it probably encourages us even more to deal with this dwarf. Does it change our plans? Would we prefer to avoid? Well, would we prefer to go straight there than to make the acquaintance of the men?
But wasn't he talking about going in through the east, which has got, as you say, a lot of orcs guarding it?
Who was that?
The wraith.
No, he was talking about the galleries.
The galleries. Okay.
Yeah.
So going back through the tower, is that what he means?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the only there's two obvious routes, major routes down in from the galleries. One of them led to the upper levels, and one was to the endless stair that should lead 6 miles directly down. But those are just the most obvious and known ones. If there may very well be other doors that lead further down, you just have not yet found them.
Yeah, we suspected that, didn't we?
Yeah, and it's again one of those. From the mechanical side, it's one of the neat things I think that you can do is be looking around trying to find stuff like that. The game, the source book offers a lot of interesting emergent kind of opportunities that way too. This and this is something I think is just incredible about the game as well. That was a combat encounter that turned into a info prompt instead because of the way that just the way the dice kind of came out. If you got a great success on the courtesy, this feels very Tolkien to speak to something. You're still paying a cost for it by way of shadow. Yeah. Right. But fucking cool game.
Cool.
And great role playing. I mean, that's the thing that makes it work, right? Is for Gwendor to choose to talk to the thing instead of just trying to, But Gwendor, however, has paid a big cost for that information, though. Yeah. Because in spite of the, there is a dimming of his spirit that has occurred, and even in the lightness of the renewed hearth, or the light of the renewed hearth, he still seems to have a slight shiver to him.
Something we noticed is
not too perky myself.
No. No. I think when you see how the shadow totally corrupts and twists what would once have been a proud dwarf, it reminds you how deep the darkness can go. It leads to woe.
And all of this, not to attempt to draw it back too tightly to your original mission here, but I mean, it's an act of betrayal that set apart, the cataclysm that ended the Second Age. The enemy does not come with force of arms. They did that at first. At least they don't do that at first. They did that at first in the First Age. But it's through whispers and through betrayal and through slow corruption. That's the enemy's most insidious tools. And so close to a source of shadow, I imagine that just your early suspicion from setting out from Rivendell, Gwendor, seems to have come to pass here. So, what's the plan? Make sure you've cleared out your fatigue, for one, because everyone has, in spite of a weariness of spirit, your body is hale and hearty and ready to tackle the slopes of the Redhorn Pass.
Should we continue on our path to make the men's acquaintance? Or does this lead us to detour straight to the endless stair?
So, I think there's one of two things here. Either we do make the acquaintance of the men, but for the purpose of recruiting them to travel with us into the halls, the dark halls, to clear out the orcs from the upper chambers. I think the chances of them wishing to do that are slim. But if we could clear the orcs from the upper levels and perhaps track them through their secret doors, then that might find us a way, and it would be a memorable battle. However, I'm not sure that our exiled lord is going to want to risk his folk in the haunted depths of the Black Pit. And so I think either it is that, or it is, as I think you're indicating, MacLeod, it is our own journey into the Black Pit to try to find that door.
Maybe if we do.
That's my thoughts, but what are yours?
Maybe if we do what you've just committed us to do for this dwarven spirit, maybe it will aid in some way.
Maybe it will.
But I see your point. I can't see that men of work would want to go down and fight a battle far underground for no particular benefit to them.
And I would not wish to persuade them too hard to do so.
Dazzle leans forward. Do they not care for treasure?
Yeah, you have to be alive to enjoy treasure, Master Dazzle.
Oh, aye, but for them to live in the mountains this long, they must have some hardiness to them, not dwarf hardiness, mind, but something.
Well, we're already headed there now. Let's continue on and make their acquaintance and see what it brings. They may have news. They may join us, perhaps.
Yeah.
And there may even be another entrance for our consideration later. But perhaps it still makes sense to see what there is to be there.
And to inquire if trade may be opened as well. Difficult the Redhorn Pass may be, beset by orcs and fouler things it seems. But goods are goods. And if they wish to open something out to Tharbad, that is something I might consider. If only to sponsor more expeditions into the pit. The treasure will not unearth itself.
Well, if we can liaison between you, Daza, and the men, it will be a benefit to all, I'm sure.
You flatter me, MacLeod. I am better with an axe, or was in my day, than I am carrying a conversation, but circumstances make us all what we are. Then, anything you guys wish... we did not roll for travel at the end of your journey destination. We forgot to do that to reduce your fatigue. So you may have that. But in favor of that, I saved something special for you. Truth told, I never had the stomach for that elf bread. But I've kept some of it for you. Lembas, bring this on your journey. From what I hear, it'll grant a boon dice on all your rolls. So you guys will get one extra dice when you reach your destination, wherever you want to end the journey, whether it is to commence the search or whatnot. You'll get one extra dice on your travel roll to reduce fatigue.
Nice.
So then, you guys have had 5 days rest now. We are up to, let's see here, it was 1, 2, 8, 10. You guys are 25 days out from Rivendell. Okay. Then, the mountain awaits. Vague, would you kindly give us a travel roll?
-1 again.
-1 again, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, it's so close, dude. It only speaks to how far you go before an encounter, but because it is winter, that would mean one event before you even get to the perilous region.
What do you think, guys? I can do it, but
I mean, being within one is the sweet spot, but you know, if you're, depending on what what your status is.
okay, I'll do it. But
Okay.
run low on hope.
Yeah.
Again, you can take a scar. So that would become a semi-permanent shadow point. So that is a success, but not a great success. So you are able to set out and reach the Red Horn. And we'll start with those encounters. So let's get the first one here. Oh, where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? I'm such a dummy. I've got a fucking dice tray that I'm carrying the dice I'm not rolling in and then rolling the dice out in the open where they're rolling all over. I should really just... There we go. Get my Deadlands tray. Rolling that. Okay. Oh my. I mean, I'm sure that's fine. All right. So then, this will be... this will be actually the lookout. So, Gwindor.
All right.
Would you kindly give us a awareness check at -1, please?
Minus. Not even close.
Holy smokes.
That is. Wait a minute.
Has something gone wrong there?
So. It's favored, so it should be keep. What have I done? Have I done something?
Oh.
What's your... Because that rolled at ill.
Oh, is it highest?
That is actually because if you rolled an 11, that is an Eye of Sauron. The 1 is better than the Eye of Sauron.
Oh, that's it then. Yeah, I've done another Eye of Sauron.
Good point.
Yeah. So.
No, I'm sorry. I have not found.
No, that's okay. So and actually, this one is fortunate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why.
So
Yeah.
It's -1 die, isn't it? That's right.
Okay. As you were making your way in, so you suffer 1 fatigue, guys. And Gwindor, you have the feeling that you are being watched, but you cannot tell from where.
No.
So, and that is a matter of about 4 days of travel as you guys are making your way up into here. The second is going to be here. Oop. Should mark this page. There we go. Page 95. All right. This is going to be actually the hunter, Nimloth. Would you kindly give us a hunting roll at -1?
With my knife, 0.
I don't think the knife will apply for this particular check.
Because I'm not actually hunting; it's just a check.
Yeah. With the last roll, it will. I could see it connecting to this, but you'll see if you're successful whether. Yeah. Nice. Okay. So, Nimloth, because you and your kind are, almost have a half step in another world. I can imagine that you can feel the weight of what Gwyndor carries with you as you were traveling. What do you think it is that Nimloth, I guess for one thing, how does Nimloth respond to that? And how does it make him feel in return? Is Gwyndor seen as a cautionary tale? He is a warden, so his calling is similar to your own as a champion. But you would take the fight directly to enemies, whereas Gwyndor is more focused on protecting the free folk from the predations of it. It's a subtle distinction, but a very different approach to a similar problem.
Oh, is it like a dimness of his aura, or or just his features look a little darker, maybe, like a little more sunken in the eyes?
What do you think, Gwyndor? How do you think he's Nimloth is as a fellow member of the Eldar? What do you think it manifests as?
He can see that Gwyndor has that sort of despairing, troubled countenance, I think is the phrase that would be used. And instead of eyes looking to the stars and looking to the distance, the eyes are drawn to the ground and almost drawn within.
Even in our short time together, he seems more inner, more pulled inward, rather.
Yeah. It sounds like what you're describing is almost like an invisible weight on him through this that was not there previously. You've traveled through terrible. A year ago, you guys ventured out in the winter into the Swan Fleet. And as a reminder, this is the shit you guys were trudging through.
Mm-hmm.
And the weight that is on Gwyndor now was not there at that time.
Right. But it seems like a cumulative wearing down of his spirit. I think Nimloth would go to him and, see if there's, like, brother, is there something that ails you? Some shadow that's befallen you?
It is just the darkness of these times, my friend. I tend to walk at times the path of despair because I see that around us the light is dimming, and that was great is falling. And sometimes I see it, and when I see things such as the hate that infuses a once noble spirit, it would only take us to perhaps call the powers of our ancient ancestors and maybe to win a battle against the dark forces again. Then maybe it will clear. Maybe action is what we need.
The two of you hear, as you're talking, a squawking. Wow! And you look over, and there is, perched on one of the precipices to the further up the slope that you're traveling, and then you're not quite through, so you're sort of facing directly east at this point. And it has been a slate gray, Cimmerian sky for the... I knew those seeds would find fallow ground. You may have missed Graham. He's looking away. Dave just gave us a fist pump. So, So what you see is one of the largest ravens that you've ever seen. And it seems to be looking at you. It caws. Ah! And with Amlath, maybe is walking up behind you. And Amlath, the ravens of Khazad Dûm are well known to have lived here as long as what the dwarves have. And there are fouler things, bats and so forth, that lurk within these hills that the ravens have rarely made their home here. It is curious and perhaps a good sign, a favorable omen that it is there. So you think this, but before you can speak, guys, well done on selecting that one that gives you the +1 to your event results, because the clouds part for a brief moment and a light shines from the east. It is not the light of Erendil, the flame of Westerness, but it is the light of dawn. The Valar have not turned their faces from Middle-earth, and all heroes may reduce their shadow by 2.
Ooh.
So as we're speaking, Nimloth, as we're speaking of calling to our ancestors and remembering, and then we sort of look up and think, there is hope.
Yeah. And almost as if it was presaging it, the raven takes off into the sky, and you can see there is it a parliament of ravens? It's a murder of crows.
Oh, ooh.
I think it's Parliament of Ravens.
Yeah.
Let's have a check.
Wow.
That is circling above.
The birds get all the cool.
Honestly, it's a parliament of owls. It isn't a parliament. Is it
an unkindness?
Unkindness of ravens. Ah, damn it! How did I forget that? Wow! Awesome!
Wow!
Or a conspiracy of ravens.
Yeah, nice. I like both of those. So they are circling above, almost expectantly, but all of you have reduced your shadow. This is one of the things I just love about this game. I genuinely rolled 2 fucking 10s, and the way that I have been interpreting the dice rolls, if I roll a 1 or I roll Eye of Sauron and it gives +1, it would bump up to the 1, which is the next worst result from the Eye of Sauron. I rolled 2 10s, which means the next result up is a fucking Gandalf rune. So, yeah,
nice.
Yep. These are one of the encounter tables, incidentally, from the Tales of the Lone Lands, because it's got some great encounters for around Khazad Dûm that feel very appropriate for here. Mm-hmm. So, a pandemonium of parrots. Some British, society was just having a fucking field day someday as they're imposing all these names on things.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, that is your 2 encounters, guys, for this thing. And because of Vague's roll from before, you will not have your regular travel event until the next hex. So the question is, do you push through to the next hex? Oh, and from that encounter, by the way, guys, 0 fatigue.
Wow.
So, with that, do you wish to look for these displaced men here, or do you wish to push on to the next, deal with the 2 perilous events there, and then go looking for the men? That would be closer to Mirkwood, but I am a notoriously an unrepentant liar, so I may be misleading as well.
Captain Unreliable Narrator. So I think we should search here.
You're gonna search here?
That's my vote.
It is fine with me.
The sun has broken. Perhaps this is the place.
Okay.
All right. So then, this will be a scan roll. And let me take a look here. I'm going to quickly
Just
refresh.
checking, because scans for quite small areas, isn't it? And explores for a
It's
bit
looking
larger.
for hidden things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and this would be included in that. Most of the roles in Moria are for scan, using scan rather than explore.
Oh, strange. Okay, cool.
I mean, scan otherwise has very limited uses, so
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
at least in these long-term things. So, what? We're gonna do
Oh,
though.
scan.
How is
just
everyone's scan?
I'm good at scan.
I didn't go for it.
Skin.
Vague.
I mean, scan works for me. I'm better at it than explore. So,
I will let people use explore as well, but I'll give a -1 to it. So you can try that as well. And then the way that we do the skill endeavor is the entire fellowship can make these rolls.
okay.
So
everyone roll scan. Cool.
well, we do it in
-1.
time per time. I am going to roll for potential riot. Well, let's just roll. So who would like to start here? We're looking for 6 successes in total.
Wow.
Oh, the star.
Here we go. All right.
Hello, Sauron. It's as if for a moment the sun broke through. Then,
I have narrowed 1, 2, and 1.
It's wonderful. So the sun comes up and then it slowly coalesces into a flaming eye. Lidless and burning. So Vague, you are starting us off with a excellent excuse to raise the eye. Who would like to go next?
I will go.
What would you like to use? Scan?
I will use scan.
Go right ahead. Now that one is probably in striking distance with Hope. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll spend a hope.
Do you have a distinctive feature that might assist you?
Let's see. Rhymes of Lore, Swift, and True-Hearted.
Not those latter two, but Rhymes of Lore.
Yeah. About the patterns of men.
I mean, I guess you haven't really had a chance to look up. You spent time in the old library and you were looking about Moria. Perhaps there is something that you came across when you were researching that you just it didn't clock at the time, but as you're thinking about it now, you're like, oh, wait. So sure, let's try Rhymes of Lore would trigger. So if you're spending Hope, roll 2d6.
All right.
Okay. I will tell you one thing I don't like about the custom dice roller. It's not immediately evident that there's a 6 that you rolled.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where the just rolling the d6s, it's easier to see what's a 6. Okay, so that is a success. Although I guess it does say great success if you do get a great success.
Say great success, yeah. Or extreme.
Yeah. So, all right. So that will be enough to draw that to a success. You have 1 of the 6 you require. Gwyndor and Nimloth. Which of you would like to go next?
I can make a scan check.
Okay.
I'm not very good at it.
Or Gwyndor. Anna says good luck.
I'll need it, I'm afraid. Yeah, it's just...
Okay. That is striking distance of success as well, with Hope.
Okay. I've got keen-eyed. Would that help?
The host dealer is out on the street corner again.
Yeah, it's
Gotta
really,
get them points spent. It's one of the best mechanics of this game, the fact that the narrative metacurrency pushes you towards a negative outcome too. Like, it's not just a matter of that you're out of them and you're running the risk of not having access to them. It's that there is that shadow element too. So it's very fucking cool. Okay. And thematically appropriate too. It's funny how often we're all like, as we're going through to describe things, we're trying not to use the game mechanic names.
That's right.
Because they're so evocative.
I was tempted to turn to Nimloth and say, were it not for the weight of these mechanics,
Exactly.
I would be fine.
Were it not for the weight of my shadow points, I would be feeling so much.
Yes, the differential is getting very tight.
Exactly. We sit around with a thesaurus with substituted things in. Okay, then that leaves Nimloth. Oh, you might be muted, Dave. In which case, our last opportunity to toast Mo. So, to Mo.
Tomo.
I will also scan. No penalty or anything?
No penalty. Nope. Look at that. Incredible. And do you have a distinctive feature that would apply in this circumstance?
I was just wondering, are I able to increase chances of success by rolling hope anyways?
Yeah, because what if you're rolling the hope dice, if you get a 6 on it, each 6 counts as an extra success.
Keen-eyed?
I would absolutely buy that. What lazy GM made these fucking things with 2 characters with the exact same distinctive features? Jesus. Sorry, not GM, LM. Look at that! 2 successes!
But also there's a 1 there.
Oh, that's okay. The 1 only matters. The feat die, Dave, is a D12, but on the D12, it's a special D12. So a 1 to a 10 counts as a 1 to a 10, an 11 counts as the Eye of Sauron, and a 12 counts as a Gandalf rune. So that's where that comes from. Gandalf rune is an auto success. Eye of Sauron is an auto fail, plus the Eye raises. Otherwise, a 1 on the other dice doesn't matter. The 6 is the only thing that matters. Okay. Although if you're weary, a 1, 2, or 3 on those success die, they count as 0. So, with Vulgarius are exactly right. Oh man. Okay, so then you are 2 shy of a success, guys. Let me quickly consult my time limit here. You have 2 more opportunities, guys. Before the event, before I'm rolling for the event, before the season ends. Yeah, exactly.
And everyone is gone. Everyone has acted.
Everyone has gone on the first pass. Yeah, so there's 2 more before I roll an event, because the resistance of the skill endeavor is what sets how like the cycles are, unless there's other factors that modify it. So, do you think this is an
Let's see if I can do worse.
Do you guys think that Blades in the Dark had an effect on this one, on the design of it? Because this skill endeavor shit in particular, with the way that they're sort of playing with the different target numbers, that feels very Blades in the Dark to me. And I don't remember it being. I don't remember skill endeavors being part of first edition One Ring.
Maybe. Maybe.
Anyway, we were talking about Blades in the Dark earlier today, and that got me thinking, and this feels very much like the kinds of considerations you make when you're determining the difficulty of stuff in Blades in the Dark. But who would like to... So, Amlath, you're thinking you want to take the lead? I guess those of you who are keen-eyed...
Vig wanted a chance to redeem himself.
I'll see if I can do even worse than last time. See if I can get triple 1s.
Excellent. Let's go here.
Yeah,
it's a Gandalf rune.
Wow.
Vig, do you have any...
No.
Nope. Okay. So then it comes down to you guys need 1 more on this next roll.
Who's the strongest
mechanically optimally way to do it would be to pick someone who is keen-eyed or has another distinctive feature, because then you could roll 2 hope if needs be. But what do you think?
Keen-eyed is one of you 2 fine, eagle-eyed individuals. Perhaps.
How are you, Nimloth?
I'm feeling less shadowy.
Yeah, Nimloth has more hope than Gwendor as well. So
Nimloth, let's use those elven eyes. See what you can spot.
What do your elven eyes see?
yeah, it's a weirdly racist thing to say, Aragorn. But okay.
I will spend my hope with keen-eyed.
Oh no, you need to. Oh, Nimloth, you failed your scan, but that is enough. +3 to the total gives you 14. That is a success.
That's right. Oh yeah, 1 and 2 only count if you're fatigued or something.
Yeah.
Only if you're weary. Yeah.
Weary, right? Okay. so I'm
Okay, then guys, with this, let me see here. I can't remember. I don't think I actually loaded the image for this because I didn't expect you to go in this direction. But this is looking great. Can I do the old hold up to the camera thing here? Because what you guys come across, and this has taken you, I think 3 days of travel. So we're at, it was 2, so 5, we're at a month out from Rivendell. So you have reached the end of your journey now. Well, you did actually before we did the searching. Why don't you guys each give us a travel check and get the
It's so
+1
nice to make one
because
of
the
these.
Lembus.
Right. Oh, a bonus die.
Bonus die from Lembus, yeah.
Nice. Lembas bread.
Nice, Gwendor. Excellent. Reduce your fatigue by 2. You need not make this roll, Amlath, because you don't suffer travel fatigue. Excellent. Vague, reduce your fatigue by 1. And Nimloth, a travel check with 1 bonus dice. Please. Nice. Excellent. All right,
Wow.
reduce it by 1 as well. Okay. What you guys find is, let's see. Oh, I don't have an illustration I can share. So never mind. I do have a cool illustration. What you find is, I want you to picture what likely at some point hosted a series of cascades leading down to a moderate size pool, which then cascaded further over the edge. So as if there was a stream at one point in ages forgotten that cut a path down to a cliff, fell down, accumulated into a pool, and then cascaded further. And then at some point, for some collapse or some other shift of geologic of a geologic kind, the water was redirected, leaving this unusual sort of drop down and then a flattened place, and then another cascade down. At the peak, where this first would have reached and then gone down into this depression, there is a tower. That is the first thing you spy. And when I say tower, I'm being quite generous to the builders. It is more truly a barrow. But that then cascades down, and there is what seems to be a not a village. A fang dragon. Here it is. No, that's not right. There is a hall, a lodge that is built, and Nimloth, you would know that this is built in the style of the woodmen of Mirkwood. And then below that, in the dried out remnants, the basin where a pond once stood, there is a village. And you can see men and women moving there. So you can picture you're sort of on a slope looking down at this. It would be next to impossible to find this if you did not know that you were specifically looking for things, and we're not so dedicated to finding this. But that's what you see. A barrow sitting atop the peak where this stream once went. There is below that the lodge or home or hall of some woodman, and then there is a village below that in the dried basin of a... there still is a creek that runs down it, though. So it still is there, just not nearly as bountiful as the water once was. What are you guys doing? Oh, sorry, Dave. I think you're muted again.
Can be.
I can hear you now.
Men of Mirkwood appears from the structures that they've built.
Yeah, we should go down.
Indeed.
Go down to speak to them now.
The men?
Yes.
Okay.
And to hail early to give them full notice of our friendly approach.
I'll fire a warning shot.
Yeah.
I'll fire a
Child
welcome
walks into view.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go up the town. I'm sure it'll land in the ground somewhere.
So let's treat this as a court. Where are we here? Which means you guys can decide how best to make your first impression. Which is right. Here we go. Council, not a court. God, I love this. Look at that.
Oh. Wow.
Give it.
Yeah.
All right. So these folks are... Well, I guess let me ask you this. What are you hoping from these folk? Because that'll dictate the difficulty. What is it that you want? This is not necessarily... You can feel free to talk about this in character, but also from just a practical, like, metagame narrative. What is it you're hoping to get out of this encounter? Is it information? Is it assistance? Is it just a place to... a haven among the mountains?
Big, you don't recognize this as them building within a dwarven community or upon dwarven ruins, do you?
Vague, the barrow. I don't know why I said it like that. The barrow is definitely of dwarven make.
Probably best left alone.
Whatever, when do bad things come out of the barrow? Come on.
But it does perhaps continue the possibility of an entryway into Moria somewhere here, does it not?
Yeah, so we could ask if they know of a way in.
We can yes, I mean, hoping to make their acquaintance, to see if they know of an entryway in, to let them know about Daza the merchant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think then the resistance will be 6 because it is not an outrageous request that you're asking. But this is not something where the encountered folk do not lose anything by helping you. Exposure to the outside is always going to be a threat for these folk. So this is a goal that profits the company more than it does the people it encountered. So, resistance 6, but...
Any benefit to them if we let them know of threats in the area?
That might affect the dice rolls, but I think just in terms of what you're trying to get out of them, this is profiting you more so than them. The prospect of 100%. There's this crazy dwarf who owns at least one pony. He might want to try and trade with you. That may not be as enticing of an option. Daza is a lovely fellow, but they may not value it as highly as you guys have come to. So the first thing will be the introduction then. So the introduction is using awe to impress strangers quickly, courtesy to ask for support, or riddle to exact information without revealing too much. And you also have your patron benefit as well that you could draw on. Awe is one of the skills that Saruman can grant you a magical success on.
Courtesy?
Yeah, the drawback of that, right, is that it is obvious there's something uncanny about it. Which may be a bit off-putting.
Yeah.
Mechanically, no. At this time, the White Wizard is well respected by all the Free Peoples. So it's called a magical success, but it doesn't mean that he's not, giving the old whammy that he will later give to whatever.
Right, but apparently, it feels odd, though, right? It's clearly not normal.
No. No, because otherwise, especially for those social things, you can't get a benefit of helping them, but also have an offset. Like that would be self-defeating. So no, invoking the name just means that you've got his name has a lot of cachet to it. I'm just double checking what those other skills are.
What happens though? They do get a magical success though. Is it the Eye of Sauron gets to notice us more, or do we get Shadow?
There is that by calling on his name. His name does have cachet. It also has power, so it would also rely on. It would raise the eye. That is correct.
Okay.
Awe, Persuade, and Riddle are all ones that can benefit from that, and you can make that call after you make the roll too.
Cool.
For those listening at home too, the way we play with Hope and the way we play with these things is after. That's not rules as written. Rules as written you spend beforehand. I just don't like wasting resources when they're not necessary. I'd rather players make the decision with the, knowing you potentially can get something out of it. So
you want to see us cringe and then use it.
Exactly. So.
Courtesy strikes me first. What do you think?
I'm a courteous dwarf. Good
Vegas, he's a messenger.
Good sirs. Well met.
Okay. So
may we introduce ourselves?
So why don't you give us a courtesy check, please? And it will be, let me see here. Hold on. Because they're... Tell us a little bit about how Vague is intending on making this first impression.
I think I'm just introducing each of us in turn and giving them an idea of what we're there for.
Okay.
I'll be quite, not every detail of Navi's thing, but that we're looking to go into.
Okay.
Then to retrieve something.
Yeah, so if you're introducing everybody, I'll give you one bonus dice on this. So go ahead at your leisure.
Oh, nice.
Nice. All right.
Well done.
So,
wow.
The time limit on this would have been 6. It is now an 8. You have 8 tries to convince these folks to open up to you.
Yes.
So, Vague, what you find as you're making your way down is the... Oh, fuck. You know what? Also remember, you can spend fellowship to add successes at the back end of a council sec. Not for the introduction, but for the actual interaction. So if need be, you can draw on that resource to add extra successes in at the end when we're totaling up. So, the folk that you meet here, the path down would pass the barrow on the far side, and Vague, what you would know is it looks as if it has been converted over to a barrow, but it's actually, and it has been constructed with manly work. There's been modifications made to this, but you can recognize this. This was a watchtower at one point. So it has been converted over by these woodmen or these folk of Mirkwood, over to being a barrow. And there seems to be a woman who's standing outside watching you guys approach. But the place was originally a watchtower, not a tomb. What you would, as you make your way down, are you going to the village, or are you going to the town? Let me just cover up here place. I really want to share this with you guys because it looks fucking cool. Whoops, and there goes the Moria map. So that, guys, is what I've tried to describe here. You see where there's the barrow at up top there where my index figure is or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that goes down there, and then there's the cusp of the basin where the pool once was. That's where the house is, the Lord's Hall, and then below that is the village. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oof. Nothing but the best for you guys, I tell you. A fuzzy webcam, you can see the rough description. What?
There's a bit of snow coming down, it seems, as we view the...
Exactly.
and maybe a bit of fog has come in.
And the hounds in the background. Oh, it's like you're there.
Seriously.
So what you'll be passing first is the easiest route is to go down into the village and then make your introductions there. You could also cut across and go to the Lord's Hall. It's not going to affect your outcome here. I want to know who you might be running into first. Which would you do? Present yourself to the Lord of the village or the Master, or would you make your way into the village?
Probably the Lord, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That was right.
Okay. Let's see here. So there is a fair bit of attention that you guys are drawing as you're making your way in, obviously. A man, 2 elves, and a dwarf draws attention in the middle of this hidden place. And it is...
Sounds like a bad joke.
Sorry? Yeah, exactly.
Sounds like the start of a bad joke.
Exactly. If Oswald was here, I'm sure he would have one for us. What you then find is that they sort of go in and they in the Lord's Hall, and someone is brought out to meet with you. And I don't have the image loaded right now, but guys, this is what he looks like.
Okay.
The way he pulls his cloak up against his neck tells you that he likely was not expecting visitors. And he has a look of somewhat wariness on his face as he takes you all in. Well, Matt all. Vague, I am Tarlock, chieftain of the cloudy head folk. This is our village. We
Well met.
rarely
And a fine
see.
village in such difficult circumstances.
It is a credit to my people that we have seen such prosperity. While we rarely see visitors, the House of Tarlock is not one to spare in courtesy. Please, we have no doubt your trip was, whatever brought you here, was exhausting. Please, allow us to be host to you. You might rest yourselves and find some respite from the unwelcoming conditions, particularly in winter, and you can tell us what brings you here.
That is most gracious, Lord.
There is an old woman who is watching over. How about I just take this map out instead of dropping it every 2 fucking seconds? What a dummy. Okay, here we go. Yeah. She would really, I think, be... gosh, I can't remember the actress's name, but the one who plays... Oh, she's on Strange New Worlds. You know, the kind of like kooky medical person? She played the fairy in Scrooged. She's character actress who's been in a shit ton of things. She looks just like this illustration. Anyway, you were brought in to the hall, and you were made welcome. What you learn is, and Tarlock is happy to share this, that they have been here for nigh on 200 years. Not he personally, but his folk.
No.
He is the successor to this, and he is the great-grandson of Tarlok, and there are more than 50 souls who dwell within his walls. They, it seems, live, for those who have had occasion, I think, Vague, you would likely have traveled to Shire. They travel more like hobbits, using mine shafts as great halls with underground rooms lit by rushlights. So this is a very... Carol King, thank you very much. Yeah, she's... this woman looks... The illustration looks very much like her. But he's curious as to what has brought you here. And in such weather. There are few who would brave the Redhorn Pass in the summertime, let alone in the heart of winter. What brings you here, Fig?
Well, the truth is that we're in search of some an artifact of my forebears to try and bring some relief over near Tharbad. It's a long story, but there is some knowledge of my forebears that we seek to retrieve, and therefore we need to go into that doom.
You would seek to enter. He looks over at the wise woman whose name, or the woman whose name you've learned is Vesna. She's introduced to you as the keeper of the Barrow, and she appears to be a bit sepulchral herself. It would be easy if she did not move often enough to mistake the roominess of her eyes, the sallow coloring to her skin, to mistake her for a corpse itself. She seems the most skeptical of those among the audience here. And given the eclectic mix of your fellowship, it seems as many as can fit in Tarlok's hall are here. So everyone is listening in on your conversation. She seems the one who is the most skeptical. And this is, Tarlok looks over at Vesna and then looks back at you and says, "Is it Mithril that you seek?"
Intriguing that you say that. Knowledge about Mithril rather than Mithril itself. We're not in search of physical treasure, more of knowledge that is needed.
I will speak up and I'll say, so much has been lost, my friends. Loss is something that we all have to experience. And we seek to rekindle and find things that have been broken or lost. And in the great halls, as they once were, there are places that we can go to recover that which was lost and taken away. Absolutely. Thinking of what they may have lost as well, kind of thing.
So let's get some dice rolling towards this goal. So it's a 6. You have 8 attempts to make. The time limit is 8 on this, but you only need 6 thus far. And I'll tell you, because of what you've said, and because of one of his traits that you guys have played to, you're going to get +2 on your dice rolls for these. So, what? Oh, I'm back on journeys again. Apparently, I have a one-track mind. And who would like to go first? Useful skills for these types of things can include enhearten, insight, persuade, riddle, song. You can, of course, draw on fellowship to invoke the name of Saruman the White. Surely. Go ahead.
I will try a pitch to you about pairing to build on Gwyndor's seeming theme of the past and what the dwarfs, what the relationship between the dwarfs and men had been, and the cooperation between them. And I'll pitch lore for that, a little off the beaten track. What do you think about that?
I think that it is a good effort to try and, there's definitely something to be said for trying to squirrel towards your thing you're particularly good at. I think in this case, well, hold on, let me think. Hold on.
Squirreling away.
Yeah. I think.
And then dwarves.
I think what I'll do is you can do that, but you're not going to get the 2 bonus dice. You're not. Yeah.
What if I could go riddle? What about riddling with it?
Yep.
Too,
definitely.
Okay.
Yep. Definitely. You will still get the benefit of the 2.
Riddle's good.
Okay.
Riddles.
So go ahead and give us a riddle
he's
check.
a riddler.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice. Excellent. All right. So that is 2 successes towards your 6. What does Amalai share? Is there some insight that he's got into the... not for nothing, you guys have been studying. If you wish to sort of put context here that you may offer, you have the benefit of the full layout, or at least the rough layout of the larger areas of Moria. These folk would not have that. So contextualizing what lies beneath their lands with others, you would have access. You would have insight into this to contextualize where they are that they would never have been able to put together.
Yeah, I think I will, and hopefully I'll be able to quote, do a bit of literal, maybe not the words don't rhyme, but there's a certain cadence that lends credence. Ooh, cadence that lends credence. I like that right there. That to get his attention that this is that this has weight, and that their settlement, where their settlement rests within the totality of this huge ancient dwarven installation, beneath them. And this could be life changing for his settlement. A better future for his people.
Your home is a fucking dump, man. But you have untouched. Let me tell you about a monorail. What you're going to be able to. His home is actually around where the Dwado Delph is located. The Dwado Delph is right here and here. So perhaps this may access, or at least in happier times, it may have accessed somewhere in the Dwado Delph.
Yeah, I mean, I may try to work that in. That I think in brighter times, the dwarves probably directly accessed this area, and I don't know if you've seen an entryway anywhere in your immediate lands, but it would not surprise me.
Do you wish to do anything with that? Vague had mentioned that the thing that has been seemingly repurposed as a barrow was actually a dwarven watchtower at one point. And watchtowers, typically, at least for here, you don't get to them over land. Think of Durin's Tower that you guys have struggled with so much.
Oh, so in other words, it would be an entryway. The watchtower could very well be an entryway, yes.
Quite possibly. So, that is excellent. You have got 2 successes out of that with your first try. 7 more goes to go. Who would like to go next?
I shall sing. Gwendol will sing. Sorry. Come on. I really, we need about 3 pages of densely written poetry at this point.
Yep.
I crack open my little cask of ale that I carry with me.
I'm now off the cuff, but I don't know how good it's going to be. Give me a second.
and in fact, seeing that, I sing one of the merry drinking songs of the Sylvan Elves of Mirkwood.
Nice. Okay. Go ahead and give us a song check, please, and that'll be +2.
That's nice. The +2 does really help. Okay, here we go. Oh!
He starts singing the song, and it's just like the dirtiest fuck. It's the Aristocrats, but in Sindarin.
I wonder what's happened there.
Yeah, what do you think?
I think what's happened there is, so I sing something that I think is going to be enheartening, but actually what it draws on is the fact that they were exiled from this place. And actually what I'm reminding them of is the loss of what they once had, rather than the joy that I was trying to evoke. I'm just throwing it out there as a...
Yeah, no, that's... And I think that perhaps inadvertently as well by... like, it's a good roll, right? Like, it's a good roll. Absent the eye, I think it is just it's as you say, like the song is well performed. It is there, but
what is it with me and the eye?
Yeah, and I think it's because you are. I think
Maybe
because
you mentioned.
Go ahead, James.
Maybe you mentioned the shadow. You meant to mean it in an uplifting way of overcoming it, but you just reminded everyone of it. Along the lines of, I mentioned the war, but I think I got away with it. Yeah. I mentioned the War of the Ring, but I think I got away with it.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think that there is a silence in the hall afterwards that is more contemplative. Tarlock still thanks you for it. He is grateful for your thing, but you can tell it has been more melancholic than perhaps was intended. But that also has raised the eye, so that is fantastic. It's all great news, guys. When we end this thing, wrapping up the year with a door getting kicked in by a bunch of orcs, like, oh, the cliffhangers of cliffhangers on a fucking cliff, guys. So,
and they'll shout, "We're here for the singing elf." Yes, they do.
Right.
Who would like to go next, Vig or Nimloth?
I can. With that, I'll try and raise the spirits, because with that cask of my ale, because it's a useful thing I have.
Awesome.
I'll say maybe we can enjoy a little uplifting drink together. Yeah. I bring an ale of my own folk. I'll try that with Enhearten.
Sure. Yeah, I love it. This is the most 90s of references, but like Gwendor is that guy who insists on putting on Tori Amos songs at parties. Everyone's just like, man, come the fuck on. Okay, so that is 3 fucking successes out of that.
They needed that drink. They coughed that. Really... The ale's gone.
We all did.
And I don't want to try and tip your scales here. Vague, do you have any distinctive features? Because if you can get one more success, you are done with this
Let's
council.
get them all completely rat-faced. And
Yeah,
that works.
exactly. Let's get rat-assed.
I'll do a folklore thing of something between them.
Yeah, maybe you know something of the
Men of
what?
work.
Of Tarlok, Tarlok's ancestors or something,
It's a
or
bit of
about
a
this
push.
region. Who knows? Let's see how it goes.
So 1d6. Let's
Come
go.
on.
Oh, that'd be 2d6. Sorry.
2d6, yeah. Come on, big money. There you go! Look at that! Beautiful. All right. So with that, Tarlok is very grateful for this. Everyone has their... yeah, everyone is very mirthful. And in spite of the initial... the reception of the song, I think that there are still some who are, it's caught in some people's heads, right? So there are maybe one or two, musicians among the group who are trying to work out how best to perform the song that you sang, and translate it into their own instruments. If I'm assuming these are, Airsats, country folk for Tolkien. So I imagine it's a fiddle of some kind that they've got. So it is, yeah, and what you have done is ingratiate yourself to Tarlok. They do not have an excess of oats and shit like that, so they really generally do not have the opportunity to trade. What you find is that their community survives through mining, actually. So there is, beneath here, there are mines. They had been curious of Mithril because they have been digging for it. Now, 4 generations worth, great-grandson would be 4 generations of kings who have been mining here, sinking things down to try and find further riches. And while they have been successful in some ways reopening these mines, they have yet to come across any mithril. So they were hopeful to do so. What you also learn is that if you share, do you share your experience in the mountain galleries?
Yeah, I think we would. We're being open here, not cagey.
Okay. So then, if you share with the collapse thing, they would share that there are, I will tell you, you can press for it because you did do quite well on this. Vesna is keeping Lord Tarlok from speaking about something. But what they do share with you is that the tradition they have where the kings or the chieftains among their kind, they have a custom where they travel into the barrow, down into the depths, past something they call the Path of Trials. And the way it's described to you, Vague, it probably is like a damaged underground corridor or what would otherwise reach deeper into Moria. And then a place that they call the Hall of the Gods, which is deepest in there. The men of who rule the Tarlok's community, the kings and chieftains, I should say, of old, they pass the trials, the Path of Trials, and make their way down. Not all survive who walk the Path of Trials, so it is those who are bravest who go down there and return with proof that they have reached the Hall of the Gods. What Tarlok could tell you is that he has stood in there as a king, king among these people, and he can tell you that there is a route that is collapsed in there, but it does seem to go deeper beyond. None of his kin have excavated it and sought out what goes further, but the way he describes it, it seems as if that would go down into the Dwaro Delph.
Mm-hmm.
It is currently collapsed, but they simply do not have the interest to go down. Plus, they have quickly found that as of late, orcs have returned to the upper levels in here, and what were sporadic troubles before if you share the markings of the orcs of Mordor that you have found on the in the mountain galleries, he will agree that they've seen some of them. They worry about the potential discovery of Tarlok's Vale by these orcs, especially if they come in greater numbers. So there does seem to be a way deep underneath Tarlok's village that may lead deeper down, though there will be some excavating involved in order to free the passage. Though, Veg, assuming you have some knowledge of the work, the excavating that would be required from there is like by an order of magnitude less than what would be required to free the passage down to the upper levels or the endless stair. Have you any questions for Tarlok or Vesna? Vesna does seem still to be hiding something from you.
The way down through the barrow, is it concealed in some way so that the orcs might not see it if they just pass by, or
the barrow, what they refer to it as the barrow, but it's truly a watchtower that's been repurposed. The barrow would be visible if they came here, but there's no good reason to come to here, right? Like you either come here because you got lost or misdirected or whatnot, but come spring, if there are more of these orcs from Mordor that are coming here, they have been seen in the hills here, and thus far the folk of Tarlok's Vale have not interacted with them. They're hidden from them, but
what I meant was when they go down and they're going through the watchtower and past the resting place of former leaders, that potential entrance into the Eriador, is that hidden so that the orcs can't come up from underneath?
Yeah, the only way, the only way, once you pass the Path of Trials and you reach the Hall of the Gods, Tarlok can tell you that there is somewhere that goes deeper in, but it is collapsed. But it is. They do not know now that you know. Now, if you tell them now that it is the Dwaro Delph on the far side, assuming that there are orcs in there, then they worry that the orcs might dig up through that. That is a concern because they seem to be everywhere beneath the ground. And while they would not, you have not asked to excavate that yet, a concern of theirs might be that excavating this would open a route up, which may allow them, if they are aware of the route, it may, afford them access to Tarlok's village. Now that those of you who have set foot under this, again, there are dozens, if not hundreds of miles of tunnels that are stretching out in every direction. So they would need to have a reason to go down one specific formerly collapsed hole in order to find them. The likelihood of them doing that is quite low. But it's not inconceivable that someone could follow someone down this if you were going back and forth down this.
Mm-hmm.
That is not an insurmountable problem, but just something to bear in mind.
If we start using it as an entrance, that's what I was getting at, is we start using it as an entrance, then orcs chase us and follow us, and then suddenly we disappear in a room. They're going to start looking around. Like we found a way out.
Yeah.
We would endanger this entire village by using their way in.
And if you gave the orcs a reason to search the surface at night, that might be another. Right now, they do not have that. Although, from what Gwindor, Nimloth, is your shadow lore with undead or with orcs? I can't remember.
Enemy lore is orcs.
Oh, so yes, you. What you would know is that because you've hunted the goblins of the Misty Mountains for ages, the goblins of the Misty Mountains and the orcs of Mordor, they may be both fell creatures and in service to the enemy. They are not allies, though. And unless the orcs of Mordor have been more successful in taking over the lower chambers, it is likely a different faction of orcs and goblins that is deeper in the depths, more likely like the folk that Bilbo and his companions encountered, that he told you about in the spring or the summer. I mentioned that to say that if you did say, you alerted orcs that were deeper in the mountains or the goblins in the Misty Mountains, that does not necessarily mean that then they would get the orcs of Mordor to go looking for you, because they're not allies.
Right. Okay.
And the one known as Vesna still seems a bit.
Yeah, I'll be like, Lady Vesna, you seem troubled. Is there something more I can share, or something you wish to share with us?
She looks over at Tarlok, who kind of nods towards her.
The greed of dwarfs is known well, Vig. I wish not to offend, so as to bring disrepute on our Lord Tarlok's home.
I can understand that we have a certain love of the beauty of the earth, but genuinely, my interest is for knowledge rather than metal. And see my companions, a pair of ethereal elves and a dour man. This is not a treasure hunting party that you see before you.
And yet, the dwarves, what was abandoned by you, was given to the men of Tarlok's line. They favor this place, and only the worthy may enter the barrow, walk the path of trials, and be judged by the gods. Dwarves have no place here any longer.
Well, our intention is merely to pass through and then leave.
You would disrupt what the gods have set out for Tarlok and his line.
My king forbids me even to be in there, so there's no rush, no desire of mine to occupy the place.
You see, my lord, they are renegades working against their own throne. They are unworthy. Tarlok puts his hand up like, okay, that's about enough Vesna for... You get the sense that this happens... Not he puts his hand up. They are guests, Vesna. They do not know our ways. Vague. Our ways. You and your kind may think of this as your home that you are returning to. This has been our home, though these last 5 generations. I am a king who followed a king who followed a king who followed a king who came here for his kingdom. This place is important to our people. Sacred, Vesna would say.
My lord, the decisions of kings is beyond my knowledge, and I would not put myself forward to question your rights. All we seek is a chance to transit and recruit some knowledge. Nothing to do with mining rights and your right to live here.
Vesna says, blasphemers! And Tarlok puts his hand up once again. what is it that you would propose? I will take counsel from Vesna. She has counseled my father and his father before him. She is wise in our ways and the needs of our people. But I would hear what you would ask of us. Freely. Please.
We would seek entrance into the depths of the ancient Black Pit. We seek that openly. But we would not do so with any disrespect to you, your people. And I'll look directly at the old lady and say, your traditions. If it is right that we should be able to take this path, then it is right. And perhaps the voices that you speak of that we must speak to, then we will speak with them.
Tarlok is taking in what you're saying. You would propose to walk the path of trials.
Yes.
To deem yourself worthy.
Yes.
You can see Vesna's about to blaspheme, and with a quick look over, she is respectful of her protectiveness.
If that is what you wish.
Yeah, so you
It's
see
a trade.
that.
It's a deal.
Yeah, she is silent. He nods. Do any of you have anything to add?
Ooh, I think that sums it up.
Yeah.
We need to get to West Moria.
Yeah. It's a long way.
Maybe if you promise not to sing again, that'll swing it.
Yeah. I'll sing at the orcs. That might be the thing to do.
Finishing with a bit of humor about Gwendor's singing voice is probably appropriate.
Yeah.
There's a reason that they made me a warden. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Isolated and unable to harm anyone with the voice.
All right. So Tarlok asks for an evening. First off, this would count as a short rest in a safe place. You guys can all... Gwendor can reduce his fatigue by 1. You will have 1 evening of rest in a safe place, and it will relieve 2 of your... Gwendor will relieve 2 fatigue. Everyone else loses 1 fatigue, except for Amlath, who has none, because he's a ranger.
I'm clear now.
Yeah, I'm clear as well.
Great. So, with a night's rest, he will... he will bring his decision to you. And the decision is that if you would seek to gain access to that, it is a place that is, because you were successful in your council. Because you guys are having a prolonged rest, if you want to take any of those fellowship points and put them into your hope, you could do that as well. I'm not sure you've spent any of the 5 yet, have you?
No.
And I think that sounds like a good idea. I'll take 1 if you don't mind.
I would take 1.
Same.
Okay. Nimloth, would you like to take 1 and save 1 for calling on the White Wizard? Okay. Then, what he tells you is that the custom of their folk is for those who would join the community as adults. Custom is to spend 3 nights in the Barrow. It is Vesna is not wrong, blasphemy for any who are any other than those who would be king to walk the path of trials and to seek an audience in the chamber of the gods, the halls of the gods. However, Tarlok has decided you are not of Tarlok's Vale. And as such, these halls, though honored by their gods now, were built by the hands of your people, Veg. And as such, it would not blaspheme them to have those who are not of Tarlok's Vale, who would never be king, to walk the path of trials themselves. Though, to be trusted as such, one would need to first be part of the community. So if you would take 3 nights in the barrow, then walk the path of trials and see what you can learn in the Hall of the Gods. That would not, in Tarlok's weighing of circumstances, would suitably honor the community's traditions while also allowing you an excuse to gain access to them. If you need know, the look on Vesna's face suggests that she is not in favor of this and likely spent long hours railing against this. Do you find Tarlok's judgment sound? Or more importantly, acceptable?
Oh, yes. Do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So let's... 3 days in a barrow is probably not going to be a problem. But there is that eye that Gwyndor rolled. So why doesn't everyone give us a valor check with 2 bonus dice?
Oh, thanks for those. Oh. Is anybody else going to increase their valor if we live? I am.
Yeah. Ooh. Nice. So Amlath, you're 2 off. Aren't you true-hearted?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, so you could get, if you want to use your distinctive feature, spend 1 luck, roll 2 extra dice.
Yep. 1 hope, indeed.
Wow, Gwyndor, that's quite...
Let's see.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I can assure you getting more valor doesn't help that much.
So, the 3 nights in the barrow are not as... they're not as... they are likely not necessarily pleasant. It's not a choice you would have to spend, for your free time. There is an excellent illustration in the book of a kid undergoing this. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
And the... I think the lesson to be learned here is, like, just load every fucking image from the book you can, because you never know what you're going to use and what you're not going to. And unfortunately, none of you can feel any despair or fear or uncertainty settling in. If anything, it seems as if this is drawing the fellowship closer. I know the game calls it a company now, but I kind of like fellowship better than company. Mm-hmm. Then, what, having returned to Tarlok, he is satisfied that you can walk the path of trials, and you can try and enter, if successful, the halls of the gods. What Tarlok will warn you is that the path of trials is not a simple measure. It seems as if the mountain itself passes judgment on those who would be king. If you'd like as well, one of you can give us a riddle check to try and uncover whatever it is that Vesna is concealing.
I'm pretty good at riddling. If anyone else is, I've got a favored 2.
Oh, awesome.
Oh no. Yeah,
I've got just a 2.
It's yours, Amrith.
Go for it.
All right.
I have no mind for
There you
riddles.
go.
Great success as well. So what other the great success? One of the things you can't do with the 2 is like the Modifius, 2d20 games. You can use it to get like quality of success. I'll allow you to suss this out without Vesna knowing, if that's
Sounds
okay.
Good.
There's a treasure hoard somewhere here that they've accumulated over the generations. Seems like they've recovered some stuff, likely from somewhere here. She is very concerned about you guys learning of the treasure here and taking it from them. Either, not even necessarily by force, but just by, what do you call it? Not propriety. What is the provenance? These are truly things that are owned by dwarves that fell here or left behind because of whatever doom fell. She may be worried that the provenance of this is not sound and that Vague could lay claim to all of it. It's good that
I'll later remark to the party that to the fellowship that the king seems to have his own Oswald Appledore at his side. I see that I seem to detect.
Yeah.
So then, the path of trials, guys. What do you plan on doing with this? Traveling down into the Barrow? We get to go to a new map, guys. Not a new map, but a new illustration. We'll use the same Moria.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, you haven't seen this one yet. And Dave, not for nothing, that's concept art from Return to Moria.
Oh, nice.
It looks cozy, though, doesn't it?
Very.
Yeah.
Nice bit of
You can
fun.
make it. You can make it that way. Most definitely.
Make it, or it is.
Here we go.
Yes. just having all this knocked through at the moment. Just
Exactly. That's what you call open plan concept for dwarves. So,
Add a couple more couch cushions, it should be fine.
definitely. Yep. Okay. Paint one wall one color so you got your highlight wall, you're good.
Yeah.
I think it's called an accent wall, actually. Yeah.
yeah, I'm just looking at one over there. Actually.
Yeah.
I don't see any darkspawn, so it's clearly a nice dwarven place.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. So guys, I'm of 2 minds here. We are 15 minutes off from midnight for Graham right now.
We are an hour and 50 minutes off.
For me.
Oh, is it?
It's
The
50 minutes off for
destinations are
James.
just
Yeah.
starting.
Oh,
outside
yeah, that's
my
right. We
window.
started an hour early so we could be done an hour early.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so fuck it. We're going to go right up to the end then. So we get to do another skill endeavor. I get to try and hurt you.
James.
It is midnight for James, though.
Oh, it is midnight for James. Yes. James.
Don't worry about
Oh, so
James.
long as you're okay, Graham. It's,
I'm so sorry, James.
Did you vote Brexit or something?
I didn't vote for it.
I'm meaning Kevin.
Oh my goodness. I have specifically worn again my this is my Raoul Wallenbeck T-shirt. That Raoul Wallenbeck is kind of like a more scrappy Oscar Schindler, and he was a lawyer who helped save a shit ton of I believe it's Czech Jews, to the point where, like, at Nazi gunpoint, was handing out pretend and obviously fake passports for Switzerland to Jews who were on cars to things. it makes me. This was 2 years ago. Behind the Bastards every year does a good story thing. Raoul Wallenbeck was 2 years ago, so it makes me think of A Christmas Spirit. Our last session, I wanted to wear my Raoul Wallenbeck shirt because it also says on the back. I don't think it'll read, but save lives, do crime.
Yeah.
So I most certainly did not support fucking Brexit. That is not my political camp. Which is a long way of saying, James, if you would like us to be done beforehand, we can kind of ease into the fellowship phase. Because, guys, having been made a member of the community, you could winter here for the season.
Okay. Wow.
Oh, cool.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. You don't have to do that walk back to Rivendell.
Right.
No, you can stay here, and you can choose if you'd like. Use one of your fellowship actions to clear that fucking path.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh. Why not? Let's do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So let's transition into the fellowship phase then. What you will find down there is we will not go through a skill challenge because even if you suffered grievous wounds down there, a fellowship phase would give you an opportunity to recover from it. So it would be entertaining stuff down there for what do you call it, for the sake of making inconsequential dice rolls. So let me see here. And where are you, Tarlock? Oh. Here it is. Okay. Path of Trials are part of a natural cavern that wind like entrails through the mountains. And in places they have broken under the weight of the rock above, requiring you to climb or crawl through narrow gaps. There are skeletons in crevices and in deadfalls that you pass as you make your way to the Hall of the Gods. And when you reach the Hall of the Gods, Vague, you are able to recognize it as a dwarven chamber. And Amlath, your lore allows you to identify it as the 19th hall on the 5th level. This is indeed not far off from the Dwarodelf. A season's digging should easily gain you access to that. It is clear, too, that whatever treasures may have been here have largely been picked over, though there are some things that were left behind that are clearly of woodman make. So it seems as if kings bring things here, leave them, and then also take things back. There is also no sign of any orcs here. So it does not appear as if the orcs have made their way through here at any point. And the passage is definitely something that you could, fortunately there is a mining community, so they have all the tools you would require. It would just take one of your seasonal actions would have to be to do that. So for our fellowship phase, everybody gets 4 adventure points, 4 skill points, and a bonus skill points equal to your wits score. So whatever your wits are.
Got it.
You have also made a safe haven of Tarlock's Vale. So you can always return here now so long as Tarlock's Vale remains. And you have an access to the Dwarodelf around the mountain galleries now and seemingly deep right into Moria.
Nice.
You will each have an opportunity to... first off, anyone with Shadow wish to convert it over to a Shadow Scar and then deal with that over the Yule season, or do you wish to keep the shadow as is? Or do you wish
We
to
have not
convert it
done
over to a
enough.
scar and just not deal with it right now?
That's right. So what you're saying is we haven't done enough to ease the shadow in this session.
What you've done
No.
is made the job easier for you. You haven't thwarted anything of the shadow yet.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay.
Okay.
So then, what?
So what you're saying is, if we take a scar, we can use. Is this our Yule? Is this Yule?
Yeah, it's a Yule season now.
It's a Yule phase. Well,
Yeah.
so if we took the scar, we could work on it over Yule. Is that right?
You could. It costs you 5 adventure points to remove the scar.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
Right.
page 121 of the core book.
Okay.
The fellowship
I
phase
think I'm good
undertakings.
for now then.
Yeah, so
okay.
each of you can, and what the converting to the scar does is it means it takes, you clear out whatever you've got, and you have 1 point that cannot be removed until you take the peel scars thing. So it's the progressive, you can get it up high and then drop it down.
Yeah.
You know.
Got you.
Yeah.
No, I think I'll stay as I am.
Stay as is, okay. So then each of you can take one fellowship phase action or undertaking. Those are page 121 to 123. And then the fellowship as a whole can take one action based on your callings. So a champion's action, a warden's action, a messenger's action, or a scholar's action. And that would be for the following spring. And remember that certain of these will benefit the fellowship as a whole, and many cannot be duplicated. So, for instance, if somebody wants to take the strengthened fellowship, that guarantees the next season you'll have +1 to your fellowship. If you wish to... this is also one where you could meet with the patron, because you have not done so yet. You can gather rumors.
Wow. I think I should write a song. And we don't have a lay for councils. I don't think, or do we? I don't think we have. So, yeah.
Does anyone have a task that they specifically want for their character, the hero?
The recount a story is now more intriguing, as James's choice has suggested. Since we've had our characters for a bit, it gives you a chance to.
Yeah.
Before, you just kind of got them, and so you weren't really ready to part with a distinctive feature.
Sure.
But at this point, it's a consideration. And since it's Yule, we can all choose it. Is that right?
Yeah,
Since it's a
absolutely.
Yule.
Yeah, because that's a personal one.
Yep.
What do you think,
That's
Fig?
more,
What's your new distinctive feature?
Yeah, I'm pondering that one. Need to have a wee think on the right word for it.
Okay.
hmm.
Emily, if you think you do the same thing, reflect and...
I'm favoring it. Yeah. At this point, it's a good time for it. I think it feels.
It is New Year's Eve, so if
You
there
know?
is ever a time, it is Yule
New
to
Year's resolution.
consider
It's the equivalent
changes.
to, LOTR New Year's resolution.
Gwindor, Nimloth? What are you guys thinking?
Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead, Graham. What were you saying?
No, it's fine. I was just querying. Do we have a song of victory that is live?
Do not, no. You only have a song of
maybe.
travel.
Maybe that's the one to go for. I think I will do that if that's all right.
Okay.
I will create a song of victory.
And then Nimloth, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking I'm also gonna story and look at a new distinctive feature.
Okay.
I figure out what fits with. I like to always try and do things from what we've done and what he's experienced.
Okay. So here is the thing. A company, including a champion, can choose the write a song thing freely, and you have a champion among this group, the Strengthened Fellowship requires a captain, which you do not have.
Right.
So what you could do is have Nimloth do this as the free action for the Fellowship, and Gwyndor, you could take the Strengthened Fellowship. It could narratively it would be you composing the song, but just mechanically, that would be a way of getting Strengthened Fellowship if that's what you want to do. The other thing is pondered, storied, and figured maps. You can do that one for free as well. So depending on whether you want to take Strengthened Fellowship or ponder, storied, and figured maps as your excess one. I don't want to make the decision for you guys, but the those are the ones you seem to have been favoring. And those definitely, your opportunity to gain those 2 shadow points back, that came from that ponder, storied, and figured maps. That was the outcome from that. So it has proven to be quite useful for you guys sometimes. Which do you think, guys? Is your decision for the next season? Oh fuck! Hold on. You wanted to clear out the pit with one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's it. So there's no Strengthened Fellowship. There's no songs and maps. It's gaining access to Moria.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it needs must.
Yeah.
Makes it easier.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah.
Then, guys, that brings us to the end of not only our session, but of our 5-part adventure of a year in Eriador. Technically 18 months, and by my clock, we are 1 minute left in 2024 for James. So, James, a very happy New Year to you. Yeah, cheers, cheers, cheers. For those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for our this session for the entire campaign or the 5-part adventure, and for any other session that you've joined us for on the channel this year. Thank you so much for helping make this such a fun and successful year. I mean, successful, I'm not sure what the measure of that is. We've got a chance to play a lot of really fun games, make a lot of memories, and meet some very cool folks in the community. So I'll count that as a success. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the game, or the adventure we played, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. Otherwise, there's also a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server where all of us are active, and we have a channel there dedicated to assorted games where we would talk about this game as well as most of the games and campaigns we run on the channel. There's also a link down. There's also channels for finding a group, GM discussion, convention chat. So if you want to, it's a helpful, knowledgeable, and friendly community over there. You are more than welcome to join us. There's also a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games, who are the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. Not only do they have an incredible selection of new role-playing games, board games, and card games, including One Ring 2nd Edition, they have a great selection of, or unmatched as far as old and out-of-print RPGs are concerned, including One Ring 1st Edition. If you make a purchase of $10 or more through their website, be sure to enter the code MuserFrost. It's in the description of the video. You'll save yourself 10% on your purchase, and you will also, if they do not have something in stock that you're looking for, you can put it on a want list, and they'll send you an email when it comes in, and you can make a purchase at your leisure and save. That discount code will change as of January 15th, so if you're listening to this after that time, come back to one of our more recent videos on the channel to find what the current discount code is. Finally, a huge thank you to all of our players, but in particular to James and Graham, who have joined me for every one of these sessions over the break. So Sean, James, Graham, and Dave, thank you so much. David, Carl, and Darren as well joined us. Am I missing anybody? I don't think so. I think it was 7 of us in total. Yeah, played. Thank you very much to everybody who's played through this. This was an extraordinarily fun game. I really like this game. The way that it just it's not a story game in the sense of like sitting and like you're playing to see where it happens and it's prompted by moves and things like that, but there is really an element of discovery of what's going on by interpreting dice results. That is really fun with the right group.
I think everything feels consequential.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's consequential, and as things change around you, it affects who you are and how you can react, and there is that sense of weight that, that the mechanics actually it works.
That's it. I think probably the best way of putting it. Just works. Like everything feels so smooth. There doesn't feel clunky bits where things are awkward or whatnot. Everything, whatever, which I did feel the first time I tried running this, or the first edition for the 2. This one feels like the burrs are kind of, you know, worked off of it. So it works extraordinarily well. Yeah. There was someone mentioned in chat, this was one of the White Whale games. I really can't, you know, the amount of prep that you require for it is extremely minimal. I have we've been able to look up stuff and rely on dice results. The monsters are not very mechanically complicated, so it's very easy to throw shit together. I sat with the open book reading off of the monsters out of it, so like it is a very game master friendly game, and I think naturally lends itself to the kind of fun. There's a really good balance of the travel. I was worried that the travel would become too onerous and too much of the game, but I still feel like we kind of got through that and got to the other stuff after we initially got familiar with what is expected of them. And when there is a more consequential encounter, I think each of those added something to the journey, right? Like when I went out of the core book and started using some of the things, the light in the west was from this. The wraith that you encountered was from this. The both of them, in fact. The markings that you found, Amlaith, that you were not welcome here, that was also from that too. So like it felt like even when you're adding them in, there's something cool that it adds that I wouldn't have planned for. Yeah, amazing. Dave, this is your second time playing. What did you think?
I like the gameplay mechanics, probably like, you know, the tests and stuff like that. But I also like the what we're doing right now in between the fellowship phases in between, and I thought that like gradual advancement and your characters improving things that, you know, like they've used things like that, or improving things they're not very good at by trying. It's interesting to. A lot of games are, it's like you play for X number of sessions and then you do something new. But like here, you're just kind of chipping away a little bit, molding this character and making them, you know, your own. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And of course, great crew.
Yeah, absolutely. Watching the progress of Shadow over the course of the campaign, like a mini campaign, has also been really interesting mechanically. Yeah. You know, the measure of fatigue versus shadow and whatnot, it is I think an interesting mechanic.
We haven't seen the eye come into play yet, but Graham certainly rolled enough of them today that, you know, keep going.
last session apparently, right?
Last session. Yeah, they had to flee Moria because of the eyes. Yeah, Graham did have the distinction of rolling the most eyes of anybody yesterday. So
way to go, Graham.
But it made for a really, you know, exciting end to our penultimate session. So any closing thoughts, guys, before we wish you a happy new year and we wrap up our final session on the channel for 2024?
Well, as ever, a huge thank you to you, Kevin, for putting this together and creating the experience. It's been amazing.
Yeah, thanks for 5 days.
Yeah,
right.
This has been extraordinary. I really felt I thought I was going to be exhausted after hosting my folks and cooking everything, the meal and whatnot for them. This has been such a fucking great way to wrap up 2024 and really solidified my interest in the One Ring. Like, this is a really, really good game.
Yeah.
You know what this is? It's the kind of game, thinking about how much prep I did, thinking how much I'm carrying around for works and whatnot. This is a fucking great, like, weekend getaway game. If you for the folks who do those kinds of like gaming getaways or whatnot, this would be an awesome game to just kick around, you know, bang out some characters, because his character gen is really easy in this, and then just, you know, sit down with the map and see where the story goes. Pick a patron, pick what interests you, and see where, you know, the tale takes you. Great. There's very few games can do that as effortlessly as what this one does, and it really is a very easy game to just open up and see where you go. Really big kudos. And Moria as well. What a fucking incredible supplement. I'm a big fan of Mega Dungeons anyway, because the idea of like, in part because of environmental storytelling that is endemic, in like that's one of the ways that these places are interesting, is the environment itself tells you about the history, and learning about it as a player and piecing together ways of interacting with it and tackling goals with it is so interesting in Mega Dungeons. This is it's so easy. It makes every other Mega Dungeon seem cumbersome and, you know, difficult to deal, much more difficult to deal with than what this is. So, so with that, anything else, guys? I want you to have the last word here. We've already done the
Fellowship is the Fellowship stood fast.
They did. Now it's just a matter of getting the other members up the Red Horn Pass. I'm sure they'll have no difficulty finding parking. So for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us on New Year's Eve. We hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our fellowship have uncovered and the achievements they've made. Twice they have managed to find ways into Moria. And I suspect this is not the last time we have seen Moria on this channel, so we will look forward to more exploration in the new year. And for those listening at home, thank you again. I'm lost in my outro because I've had to change it. For those listening at home, stay safe, stay healthy, happy gaming, and happy new year.
Yeah.